on the previous, I'm assuming.
Visiting Oak Ridge Wildcats and your South Doyle Cherokees.
Hello again, everybody. David Clary along with Lee Wexler, Jordan Osborne here at South Doyle High School, getting set for Oak Ridge High School baseball on our YouTube channel, Prep Radio. We appreciate you watching our broadcast today. We'll hopefully get on Channel 15 at some point during the course of the ball game. Before our national anthem, Lee Wexler, you have got the starting lineups for tonight's game.
Starting lineups for Oak Ridge: batting first in center field, Matthew Swigert. Batting second and pitching, Logan Rosenberger. Batting third in left field is Alex McNaughton. Batting fourth at first base is Bryce Ludwikowski. Batting fifth in right field is Caden Updegraft. Batting sixth at third base is Jacob Franklin. Batting seventh at second base is Jason Slay. Batting eighth and catching is Bryson Parks. And batting ninth and playing shortstop is Caden Black. Starting lineup for the South Doyle Cherokees. Leading off at shortstop is Luke Vest. Batting second at third base is Cooper Stapleton. Batting third and catching is Braden Ott. Batting fourth in the right field is Creed Worker. Batting fifth, the designated hitter, Will Davis. Batting sixth at first base, Dylan Thomas. Batting seventh in left field, Jared Beale. Batting eighth at second base, Bryson Cox. Batting ninth at center field, Mason Chandler. Pitching for the Cherokees is Jacob Tremblay.
It is a beautiful day here at South Doyle. Not quite as windy as it was when we were at Central a week or so ago. As soon as I say that, the wind picks up for the first time tonight. But there is a bright sun right above the field here. A rare 2 o'clock ball game on a Saturday. Thanks for tuning us in. The Wildcats are down to their final 2 ball games of the regular season. They'll take on Kingston next week, and then they'll start District 3 play. The Wildcats are already lined up on the first base line for the national anthem. The starting lineup is being introduced, and as they are announced, they run out to their positions here at South Doyle. It's been a long time since I've actually been at this field, and it is, like I said, just a beautiful day and much, much warmer and less breezy than it was when we were at Central. Now we're about to have our national anthem here from South Doyle High School.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you will, please rise or remove your caps for the playing of our national anthem.
Our national anthem here from South Doyle High School, getting set for this non-district ball game between the Wildcats of Oak Ridge and the Cherokees of South Doyle. South Doyle, a very, very fine program. They currently stand third place in their district as they get ready. Both teams get ready for district play. Starting next week here, the Wildcats, I believe, will finish 5th in the District 3, about midway through. That's kind of the way it has been for many, many years at Oak Ridge High School. We were talking about that beforehand, but Coach Travis Free trying to build the program, get it to a competitive level the way it has been in previous years, and I think they're well on their way here as we get set for this ball game. Looks like we're going to have a left-handed throwing pitcher. Don't see a lot of those in high school, but he'll be leading things off for them. Jacob Tremblay, he'll be the first pitcher they use, and yesterday's pitcher in the game at Bobby Hopkins was throwing in the upper 80s to low 90s, and a college prospect, and we'll have to see how Mr. Tremblay does.
Yeah, Tremblay's working from the left side. Doesn't look like he's throwing maybe as hard as last night's pitcher for South Doyle. Maybe a little cutter action, maybe a little sinker action from the left side. Oak Ridge, the hitters are going to have to stay on the ball. use that middle to backside approach, use the entire field against this guy. Again, he doesn't look like he's throwing as hard as maybe last night's starter, but, the Oak Ridge hitters, they need to be aggressive and, attack the fastball.
You played high school baseball. Did you prefer to play in a day game like this in the blazing sun in the late spring, or did you like the night games better?
Well, I didn't really care. The night games were mainly district games, and I didn't mind the Saturday weekend games. I liked them all. I liked playing teams not in our district, which is kind of what we're seeing here. It's a non-district game. Personally, I didn't mind. The weather does feel good, though. We've been waiting on this weather for a while, so it's a great day for baseball.
Think about those ball games that we did at Bobby Hopkins Field back 2 or 3 weeks ago when we were just freezing cold. Much different here tonight. Matthew Swigert leads things off for the Wildcats, and we're about to get underway here from South Doyle on our YouTube channel Prep Radio. Tremblay has the sign from his catcher, and we're about to have the first pitch of the ball game, and here it is from the left side. The pitch is on the outside corner for a called strike. Not a vocal umpire. He did give the signal for strike, but didn't hear him say much. It's no balls and one strike. Tremblay working quickly. Here's the one strike pitch. Inside this time, evens the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. We're at South Doyle High School. The Wildcats scheduled to play Kingston next week in the season finale. But Coach Free told me that they might be trying to schedule another ball game as that pitch is way outside and high. Tremblay might have kind of lost his footing on the mound as he delivered that one. He kind of scruffs it up just a bit to try to his landing foot to make sure that he lands properly. 2 balls, 1 strike the count. 2 balls, 1 strike the pitch. Hit on the ground, inside the bag. That's fair ball. Down in the corner it goes. Matthew Swigert rounding first and heading for second. He'll be in with a stand-up double. Great start for the Wildcats. Just a bounding ball over the bag at third base, and the Wildcats have their leadoff man aboard. A double by Matthew Swigert.
Yeah, he saw a fastball on the inside part of the plate, kept his hands in, and just kept the ball on the inside part of the third base bag, and it's a leadoff double.
Batting second for the Wildcats will be Logan Rosenberger. He'll be the pitcher in tonight's game. I was kidding Logan earlier before the ball game. This is the first time we've actually broadcast a live game that he's pitched in. And we'll get a chance to see him in the bottom half of the inning as that pitch is down in the dirt. 1 ball, no strikes, the count. We're at South Doyle High School here on YouTube on our Prep Radio channel. And I'll ask our technical advisor, Mr. Jordan Osborne, in a moment how we look technically, if we're getting a good signal out. We didn't at Central the last time we broadcast. 1 ball, no strikes, the count. Swigert takes his lead off of second base. Tremblay, the left-hander, comes to the plate, hits him. So the Wildcats will have runners at first and second with nobody out. So a really, really good start for Oak Ridge and a not-so-great start for Jacob Tremblay.
No, he's giving up a leadoff double and a hit batsman. They're going to pinch run here for Rosenberg, but so far I've noticed that at Tremblay, it looks like it's just straight fastball so far. So I'm taking note of that if I'm Alex McNaughton right here.
I believe the runner is going to be Joey Weston. I'm screened a little bit. The Wildcats have runners at first and second, nobody out. The batter, as we mentioned, is Alex McNaughton. He is a junior playing left field today for the Wildcats. Just underway, top of the first inning here from South Doyle High School. Tremblay checks the runner at first, glares back at second, steps off the rubber, and the runners retreat back to their bases. Okay, crowd here on this Saturday afternoon. Glad you've tuned in and elected to watch our ball game here from South Doyle. McNaughton steps in once again. Here's the pitch to the plate. It's inside corner for a called strike. Looked a little inside, maybe a little high, but he called it a strike, and the count is no balls and 1 strike. Matthew Swigert, leadoff double. He's at second. The courtesy runner looks like Joey Weston off of first. McNaughton stands back in, holding the runner at second. They're not holding Weston at first. Now the pitch to the plate on the outside corner for a called strike, and the count is no balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, it looked like Tremblay's first off-speed pitch looked like a backdoor slider.
Nobody out here. Wildcats with runners at first and second, as we mentioned. McNaughton stands back in, behind in the count 0-2. Here's the pitch. Swings and he misses. He strikes him out. The first base is occupied, and that is a strikeout, and that is out number 1 here in the first inning. Now the cleanup hitter for the Wildcats tonight, the first baseman, Bryce Ludwikowski. He stands in for the Wildcats. He'll be followed by Caden Updegraft, and then Jacob Franklin in the Oak Ridge lineup. Wildcats staying put on their bases here as the right-handed hitting junior first baseman stands in for the first time today here in the top half of the first inning. Good start for the Wildcats. Let's see if they can move these runners around, get them in. Here's the pitch to Bryce. It's going to be low and outside. 1 ball, no strikes.
Yeah, Tremblay not throwing as hard as the starter last night. So, like I said, Oak Ridge, they need to stay on the ball, use the whole field. This guy looks like his ball's maybe tailing away. He's a left-handed pitcher, so his ball's tailing away. So they need to stay on. It looks like he's trying to pound the outside part of the plate here.
Jonathan Milloway not playing in this ball game, having a little back issue. Coach Free told me. Here's the pitch to the plate, cut on and missed. And that evens the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Matthew Swigert had a leadoff double down the left field line. He's still at second with 1 out as the Oak Ridge Wildcats bat here in the first inning. Last night it was all South Doyle. Wildcats trying to split the season series. Who knows, they might get a chance to play later on. We'll see. 1 ball, 1 strike. And steps off the rubber and gets Matthew Swigert to return to the bag at second. Like I said, it's a beautiful day here at South Doyle. Fans still filing in here. Decent crowd. It's a beautiful setting, kind of a wooded area beyond the outfield fence. 1 ball, 1 strike to Bryce. Here's the pitch, low and inside, and the count is 2 balls and 1 strike. On deck for Oak Ridge is the right fielder, Caden Updegraft. He's on deck. Caden's really had a good junior campaign, getting a lot of playing time this year. Off the basketball court, there's a quick throw back to second. He throws it away. Into center field it goes, and Matthew Swigert's going to wind up at third base. Obviously, Joey Weston with the play right in front of him had to stay put at first, but now the Wildcats have runners on the corners with 1 out and a 2 ball, 1 strike count on the cleanup man.
Yeah, they try to throw over to second, maybe get Swigert off guard. Tremblay ends up throwing it in the center field, so Oak Ridge has runners at the corners with 1 out.
Bryce stands back in, right-handed hitter. As I mentioned, he's a junior, transfer from upstate New York. Glad to have him in the program here. 2 balls, 1 strike. Lefty comes to the plate, hit on the ground, up the middle. That's going to sneak through there, and the Wildcats are going to have their first run. Nice play by the second baseman. The ball was not hit that hard, but it bounded over the top of a not-so-tall Tremblay, and once it got over his head, it was academic that Matthew Swigert was going to come in to score. The only question was, because I didn't think they had a chance at first, was if they were going to be able to flip on to get Joey at second, but they did not, and the Wildcats have their first run.
Bryson Cox, the second baseman for South Doyle, kept that ball from going into center field. He put a glove on it. It's going to be an infield hit for Ludwikowski.
Here's the pitch to Caden, hit right up the middle. That is a solid base hit. Here comes Weston rounding third, getting the green light. Here comes the throw. He gets held there and throws up the line a little bit. The Wildcats will have the bases loaded. That ball hit a little bit harder than Bryce's. It's a solid liner up the middle, and the Wildcats have the bases loaded with 1 out, and the batter will be Jacob Franklin, the third baseman for the Wildcats.
Yeah, the ball was hit well. I like the aggressiveness by Updegraft right there. He drove the ball right back up the middle. That's what Oak Ridge needs to do today.
Jacob stands in. He's a sophomore hitting from the right side. Tremblay has given up 1 run. There's 1 out here, bases loaded. The Wildcats. Franklin steps in for his first attempt and pitches down low a ball. 1 ball, no strikes, the count. Jacob hitting in the number 6 position here. He'll be followed by the second baseman, Jason Slay. It's a young lineup in for the Wildcats. The batter currently, Jacob Franklin's a sophomore. We got a sophomore Slay on deck. The pitch is hit on the ground. High hopper. It's going to go to the second baseman. They've got 1 at second on the force. Actually, they call him safe. So Caden Updegraft beats the throw, and the Wildcats score as Joey Weston comes in to score run number 2, and it's station to station. The Wildcats will have the bases loaded.
Yeah, I mean, it was just another chopper at Bryson Cox, a second baseman, and it was just hit slow enough where he really didn't have a play anywhere. I think his best play would have been at first. He decided to go to second, so that's going to be a fielder's choice.
Little small ball here for the Wildcats. Here as the Wildcats, Jason Slay stands in. He hits the ball on the ground. High hopper once again, just a little chopper fielded by the Wildcat first base coach, and the count is no balls and 1 strike. Jason Slay, the batter, he's playing second base. He'll be followed by the catcher, Bryson Parks. 2-0 Wildcats. Good start for Oak Ridge. The Wildcats have really tagged the ball a couple times. The double by Swigert and the single by Caden. The ball's hit foul back to the screen, kind of reaching for that one. Pitch well out of the strike zone. The count is no balls and 2 strikes. 1 out here, bases loaded. The Wildcats of Oak Ridge on top of the South Doyle Cherokees by a score of 2-0. Parks on deck, as I mentioned. The Wildcats have the bases loaded. Wildcats in the last game that we saw jumped out to an early lead. It struggled to maintain it as that pitch is way up high, and the count is 1 ball and 2 strikes. Lebowkowski is your lead runner. He's at third. Caden Updegraft is at second. Jacob Franklin's at first. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Cut on a miss, and that's a strikeout, and that is out number 2 here in the top half of the first inning, and the batter will be the catcher, the number 8 hitter in Coach Travis Free's lineup. That'll be Bryson Parks. Had to take off the catcher's gear as he wanders towards the batter's box. Wildcats have put 2 on the board. We'll see if Parks can get a 2-out hit. Parks will be followed by Caden Black, the shortstop, but there are 2 outs, 2 in. Jacob Tremblay comes to the plate, hit foul back to the screen, right directly behind the catcher, and the count is 0-1. Freshman Black is on deck for Oak Ridge. Bases still loaded. Wildcats in the lead, 2-0. Logan Rosenberger will be our pitcher when the inning flips to the bottom half. Here's the pitch. That's low, I guess, in the count, as that count is going to be 2 balls and no strikes, I do believe. Let me make sure here. 1-1, according to the scoreboard. 2 outs here. Bryce back then. Bryson Parks. Pitch to him is cut on a miss, and pitch well outside the strike zone. And now Bryson's going to have to be a hitter here. He's behind in the count. 1 ball and 2 strikes. He fouled the first pitch off. Thanks for reminding me there, Lee. And here comes Tremblay's 1-2 pitch. That's low and inside. Nice stop by the catcher, Braden Ott, for the South Doyle Cherokees to keep it from going back to the screen. Like a lot of the fields around here, there's very little foul territory right behind the plate for sure. There's very, very similar look to the Carnes field. There is a gravel track just on the outside of the fence area. Here's a 2-2 pitch to Parks. Cut on a miss, and that is a swinging strikeout, and that is out number 3. But a productive half inning for the Wildcats. They put 2 on the board. They leave the bases loaded, though. We go to the bottom half of the first inning here at South Doyle High School on Prep Radio, our channel on YouTube. And the Wildcats lead South Doyle 2-0, and we'll be back in a moment. David Clary along with Lee Wexler, along with Jordan Osborne back here at South Doyle High School. The Wildcats have taken a 2-0 lead over the Cherokees. Logan Rosenberger doing his warm-ups. He's the right-handed throwing junior, and he'll be the pitcher. The Wildcats, I guess what would you call the ace, or the number 1 guy, plays the district first games of the districts, and he'll be facing a very, very fine South Doyle team. And the top 3 hitters for them will be Luke Vest, the shortstop, Cooper Stapleton, the third baseman, and the catcher, Braden Ott. That'll be the first 3 scheduled in the South Doyle lineup. And Luke Vest will step in. Not a big guy, but he stands in, obviously. Probably has some speed. Probably can put one down. Not a big guy. Let's see what Logan can do start the ballgame. As I mentioned, if you just tuned in, I was kidding with Logan earlier. This is the first time we've actually done a live broadcast when Logan has actually been the pitcher. As the pitch comes in, hit on the ground, high hopper. It's over the third baseman, Jacob Franklin's head, and that is a leadoff single. So just like what Oak Ridge did to South Doyle in the top half of the inning, just a little bounding ball, that time over the top of the third baseman, and they had their leadoff man aboard.
Yeah, it was just a chopper that went straight down and then bounced right over Jacob Franklin's head over there at third. And Jacob Franklin was playing in a little bit to maybe watch the leadoff bunt, but nonetheless, it's a leadoff single for South Doyle.
Third baseman Cooper Stapleton stands in. He's a right-handed hitter. Runner at first, good lead. The pitch is hit in the well to right center field. It's going to go all the way to the fence. That's going to score at least one, I believe. Kind of kicked around a little bit by the Wildcat center fielder, but they're going to get the run in, and it's 2-1. So an RBI double by Cooper Stapleton on the first pitch, and just like that, the lead is cut in half. It's 2-1 Wildcats. And like you mentioned when Oak Ridge was batting, the Cherokees very aggressive on the first pitch and a double to the fence.
Yeah, 2 pitches, 2 hits for South Doyle, a single and a double. That ball was struck well in the right center, and it's 2-1.
2 hits, 1 run here. Rosenberger, right-handed throwing junior, as I mentioned, has a sign from Bryson Parks. The batter for them is the catcher, Braden Ott. Here comes the pitch to the plate, hit foul. And out of play, over to the left side, and the count is no balls and 1 strike. Very aggressive are the Cherokees, as were the Wildcats. Ott stands in. He'll be followed by Creed Worker, right fielder for the Cherokees. Rosenberger. Hope you enjoyed watching him on our TV show, Covering the Bases, seen each Wednesday night on Channel 12. Here's a pitch, hit foul again. Well ahead of that one, and the count is no balls and 2 strikes. Channel 12 each and every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock from 7 to 8. Typically, the first half hour is taken up by the head coach of the Wildcats, Travis Free, and the second half taken up by players. And we'll have another show this coming Wednesday. Breaking pitch at the plate, bounces away, and that'll get the runner over to third, and the count will be 1 ball and 2 strikes to Braden Ott. So the tying run with no outs is at third base, and Logan trying to close out Ott here. He'll be followed by, as I mentioned, Worker, the right fielder, working from the first base side of the rubber. Has the sign from Parks. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Hit in the air, left side, deep, but the left fielder in foul territory drifting that way makes an opportunity to catch it, but does not, and it drops out of his glove, and that would have scored the run right there, Lee. So obviously you want the out, but McNaughton couldn't hold on to it out there, and the count remains at 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, if McNaughton catches that, that's going to be a run, but I guess he was moving back and just couldn't get underneath it and make the catch.
Logan yet to get a swing and a miss on the Cherokees here. He'd like one right here. In a 2-1 ball game, the Wildcats in the lead, playing here in the bottom of the first. Here's the 1-2 pitch, hit foul again. And he's getting around on Logan's pitches. He's hit 3 well foul hard.
Yeah, I think he's hit 4 foul to the left side. He's getting out front, so maybe throw something away here. They tried throwing a curveball in the dirt. They ended up getting away. I'd throw maybe something outside. He's pulling everything to the left side.
1 ball, 2 strikes. From the stretch, here's the pitch. Hit in the air, center field. Matthew Swigert was in first and makes the catch in center. It's going to be a sacrifice fly and an RBI. So the Wildcat lead is no more as the Cherokees score, and that's the first out of the inning. We've got a 2-2 ball game. I think Matthew, who's very, very steady, typically in center field. First step was in. Maybe the sun had a little effect on that. And we've got a 2-2 ball game. So just like that, Lee, we're all knotted up once again.
Yeah, that ball was stroked well, and I mentioned they probably should throw something outside, and they did. He still drove it to the center field, so it shows good promise there for South Doyle.
Look like a strike from here. The count is 1 ball, no strikes. It was a high inside pitch right at the belt. 1 ball, no strikes. The count 2. Creed Worker, the right fielder. He hits the ball on the infield. Logan Rosenberger calls for it, makes the catch for out number 2. The ball was right off his hands for out number 2, and the batter will be the designated hitter, Will Davis. Davis is hitting for Jacob Tremblay, the hurler for the Cherokees. 2-2 our score, 2 outs, nobody aboard. Wildcats left the bases loaded in the top half of the first inning. Let's see what the Cherokees can do here with nobody aboard here with 2 outs in their half of the first. Here's Logan's pitch on the inside corner at the belt for a called strike. No balls and 1 strike. Defensively for the Wildcats, Jacob Franklin is at third. Caden Black is the shortstop. Jason Slay's at second. That pitch is down low, a ball. Bryce Ludwikowski's at first. Bryson Parks is the catcher. Alex McNaughton is in left. Matthew Swigert in center. Caden Updegraff is out in right field. 1 ball, 1 strike. Here's Logan's pitch. Breaking pitch. Oh, my. 2 balls and 1 strike the count. Look pretty good here, Lee. Here's the 2-1 pitch. That one's high. And the count is 3 balls and 1 strike.
Well, it doesn't help when the umpire starts backing up and starts standing out of the way when the pitch has yet to be caught. That doesn't help.
Pitch is hit on the ground, past the pitcher. Caden Black fields it. It's going to be a bang-bang play. He makes the play. Great throw there by Caden Black to Ludwikowski to retire the side. So we go to the top half of the second inning here at South Doyle High School. We've got a 2-2 ball game, Oak Ridge and the Cherokees, and we'll be back on YouTube live from South Doyle High School on our Prep Radio channel. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back once again to South Doyle High School. David Cleary, Lee Wexler, along with Jordan Osborne. The top half of the second inning about to get underway here. We've got a 2-2 ball game. It'll be the number 9 hitter for the Wildcats, Caden Black. Then back to the top of the order to Swigert and Rosenberger. Jacob Tremblay beginning his second inning of work, facing the left-handed hitting freshman. The pitch is high, and the count is 1 ball and no strikes. Defensively, for the Cherokees, I didn't roll through that earlier. The first baseman for them is Dylan Thomas. The second baseman is Brian Fox. The shortstop is Luke Vest. The third baseman is Cooper Stapleton. As the pitch to Caden Black is a called strike, and that evens the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. The catcher is Braden Ott. The pitcher, as I mentioned, is Jacob Tremblay. I'll set the outfield following this 1-1 pitch. Hit foul, and out of play over to the left side. The outfield, we've got, looks like Jared Beale is in left field. The center fielder is Mason Chandler. The right fielder is Creed Worker. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Caden stands back in, left-handed hitter. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Breaking pitch, a little bit high, I guess, and the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes. Nobody out, nobody aboard here for Oak Ridge, and a 2-2 ball game as we play here in the second inning. Cut on a miss, and that is a strikeout, and out number 1 here in the second inning. And back to the top of the order we go to Matthew Swigert. Swigert had a double down the left field line. And some jewelry, a warning from the umpire. Matthew will have to take off what appears to be a bracelet. And off it goes. And that's a warning from the umpire. Fashion police.
Yeah, that happened quite a bit when I was in high school. I guess players just forget to take it off or whatnot. But Tremblay for South Doyle, all four of his outs so far have come via strikeout swinging so far. So Oak Ridge needs to figure out a way to put the ball in play, make the South Doyle defense go to work.
Matthew will stand in, one out, nobody aboard here in a 2-2 ball game, second inning. Tremblay works quickly. He comes to the plate. That one's way high, and the count is 1 ball and no strikes. As I mentioned, Matthew had a double his first plate appearance. He'll be followed by Rosenberger. Pitch is low and inside. 2 balls and no strikes, the count to Matthew Swigert. Matthew was honored with the rest of the Wildcat football players in the Oak Ridge football banquet this week. Senior member. Starter. 2-0 pitch, way outside and low. 3 balls and no strikes. So Matthew, good leadoff man, knows how to get on base, and he's hitting the count 3 balls and no strikes. Braden Knott gives the sign. Here's the 3-0 pitch. That's ball 4, and down the first will go Matthew Swigert, and the Wildcats have another base runner. Base runners have not been an issue here to start the ball game for Oak Ridge.
No, they haven't. They've left 3 men on base last time. They loaded the bases, had them loaded for several at-bats. So we'll see if Swigert, I'll be interested to see if they put him in motion here, maybe to test the South Doyle catcher.
Here's Logan Rosenberger, the pitcher. He had I believe, a single in his first plate appearance. Actually, was hit by a pitch. Thank you. There's a called strike at the belt, and the count is no balls and 1 strike. 1 out here, runner at first for Oak Ridge. That's Matthew Swigert, only senior in the Wildcat lineup today. I mentioned Jonathan Milloway not playing, a back issue, as the pitch is down low. Evens the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. The Wildcats yesterday started all of their seniors, which was a great thing to see. Hayden Morgan, Jackson Rafferty, and Zach Lang, along with Matthew Swigert and Jonathan Milloway on senior night at Bobby Hopkins Field. 1 ball, 1 strike the count. The pitch is hit on the ground, foul up the third baseline, and the count is 1-2. On deck for the Wildcats is Alex McNaughton. He reached base safely as well, I believe. Actually, he was the strikeout victim. First out of the first inning. The Wildcats put 2 on the board in the top half of the first, and they followed with 2 of their own in the bottom of the inning. And we've got a 2-2 ball game. Wildcats do have a runner at first. Logan behind in the count, 1-2. Hit in the air, foul territory, and out of play over towards the parking lot. Not quite there. And it bounces away, and the count remains at 1-2. Jordan Osborne, senior in high school, counting the days down before he graduates from Oak Ridge High School. He's doing our camera work today, so if you don't like the pictures, blame Jordan. And if you don't like the broadcasting, blame Lee. 1 ball, 2 strikes the count. I'm never to blame. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Hit foul again over the top of us, and the count remains at 1-2.
I'm noticing Swigert at first, not a big lead. You know, with a left-hander, usually a jab step. If he's going to straight steal, it makes sense to have a smaller lead. I want to see him get a good secondary because if ball in the dirt that gets away from the catcher, you got to be able to take second.
Tremblay checks Swigert at first. It is a short lead. Here's the pitch. Hit well to left center field. It's going to drop in for a base hit. So a solid single by the Wildcat pitcher, Logan Rosenberger. And the Wildcats once again have a couple runners on. Solid hit. Good at bat there by Logan. He fouled off several pitches and finally got one to his liking and lined it into left center field.
He fouled off a couple pitches, stayed alive, helped himself, got a fastball inside, maybe got a little thin off the barrel. But found a little open spot out there in left center, and Wildcats have runners first and second, 1 out here.
Here comes Alex McNaughton standing in for the Wildcats. Swigert, your lead runner at second. Wildcats have a courtesy runner once again, Weston, at first. Here's the pitch, low and outside. Oh, wow. That was absolutely the worst call I've ever seen. That was way outside and low below his knees, and the count is no balls and 1 strike. Absolutely terrible.
Well, I've noticed several times the umpire for both teams has given up on the off-speed pitch. He stands up when they throw curveballs, so it's...
No balls, 1 strike the count. 1 out here, runners at first and second in a 2-2 ball game. Game can be viewed on YouTube after the ball game. Prep Radio channel. 1 strike the count. The pitch. Outside corner at the belt for a called strike, and the count is 0-2. Might have been a little cross-up action there. I don't think the catcher expected that pitch, and he goes out to have words with the pitcher.
Yeah, sometimes that happens when you have a runner on second. A catcher, they'll go to maybe the second or third sign. They'll go with different signs. That way the runner on second isn't picking up signs. That's what we did in high school. We would sometimes give hand signals or something. We'd lean one way or the other, depending on where the catcher's setting up or whatever sign the catcher's giving. It's probably what they're talking about out there on the mound.
Count is no balls and 2 strikes. We've got 1 out here in the top half of the second inning and a 2-2 ball game. Alex McNaughton, 0 for 1 in the ball game, as we mentioned, struck out in his first plate appearance. Down in the count here. Swigert a short lead off of second. Lefty versus McNaughton. Here's the pitch down low, and they're stealing. Here's the throw down the third. A beautiful throw, and he's out. The Wildcats went for the double steal. Matthew felt by his reaction that he was safe. The throw was a laser right on the bag. Beautiful throw by the catcher, Braden Ott, and that is out number 2. The Wildcats do get the stolen base out of second, but there's now 2 outs, and the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes.
I believe that ball was in the dirt. They have Braden Ott, the catcher for South Doyle, picked that clean and threw a laser over to third to get Swigert for the second out.
Runner takes his lead off of second. 2-2 our score. McNaughton back in. And the pitch. Down low a ball. And count, I believe, is now 2 balls and 2 strikes. They had kind of cleaned off the scoreboard. Balls and strikes. McNaughton stands back in. Go ahead, run at second base, but there are 2 outs. Here's Tremblay's pitch, hit on the ground. Foul territory, just right off the end of the bat. Stays alive, though, and the count remains at 2-2. First baseman Bryce Ledwikowski is on deck. He reached base safely for the Wildcats back in the first inning. Jacob Tremblay, the 2-2 pitch. Down low, bounces at the plate, and we got a full count now, 3 balls and 2 strikes. So Alex battling back from an 0-2 count to make the count full. Let's see what he can do with Bryce on deck here. Coach Free barking out an encouragement to his batter. Here's the pitch, hit on the ground softly, third base side, foul. And the count is full once again, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Wildcats have done a lot of that, and Tremblay's thrown a lot of pitches here in the first 2 pitches. He's had innings, that is. He's had a lot of base runners in this one. That ball that would have been a hit if it had stayed fair, but it was well foul. And he returns the bat with a 3-2 count. Alex kind of stood the bat on its end at the home plate area. The catcher actually set it up for him. He retrieved it right at home plate. Another 3-2 pitch. Hit well. Nice play. Line drive caught by the third baseman for the Cherokees, Cooper Stapleton, and that is out number 3. So we go to the bottom half of the second inning here at South Doyle on this beautiful Saturday afternoon in South Knox County. The Wildcats and Cherokees are tied at 2. And we'll be back to South Doyle in a moment. Welcome back once again to South Doyle High School, the Wildcats of Oak Ridge and the South Doyle Cherokees on our YouTube ball game. streaming from South Doyle. As I mentioned, what a beautiful area. It kind of reminds me of the Heritage football field where you got a wooded, hilly area right behind it. At Heritage, though, you got the Smoky Mountains right behind it. This is just the hills here, but a beautiful day here as the right-handed hitting first baseman Dylan Thomas stems in. He'll be followed. He hits the ball on the ground foul up the third base line. And the count is 0-1. Thomas, Beale, Fox, the scheduled three in the South Doyle lineup here in the second inning in a 2-2 ball game. Stocky first baseman stands in behind in the count. No balls and one strike. Rosenberger comes to the plate. Breaking pitch, cut on a miss. Nice pitch that time by Logan. And the count is 0-2. Logan is a junior, considered the number one guy in the pitching rotation. Here's another breaking pitch. This one bounces about a foot in front of the plate. And the count is 1-2. Nobody aboard, nobody out here. Bottom of the second inning. Saturday afternoon baseball here from South Doyle. Used to having night ball games. This might be our first day game we broadcast since, I guess, the Easter tournament at Bobby Hopkins Field. Here's a 2-2 pitch. That pitch is way up high. Evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Yesterday, South Doyle came to Bobby Hopkins Field in Oak Ridge and beat the Wildcats on senior night. All the seniors played. Pitch hit on the ground, right back to Logan. He fields it on one hop, underhands it over to Bryce Ludwikowski at first, and that is the first out here in the second inning. And the batter now will be the left fielder, Jared Beale. His first plate appearance here. He'll be hitting from the left side for the Cherokees, who wear all white jerseys with red and black trim. Oak Ridge football team will be opening their season with South Doyle at Blankenship Field. Logan comes to the plate, hit hard to the shortstop. He fields it behind the bag, has an opportunity to throw him out, and he does. What a nice play. Ball was hit hard. Good range out there by the freshman. Fielded it cleanly. Had a great throw to Bryce, and that's 2 outs.
That ball, I thought that ball was going to get through. Caden Black had to move a long way to his left, and the ball looked like it slowed down a little bit. Caden Black fielded it, spun, and made a good throw. It was a nice play.
So 2 up and 2 down for the Cherokees, and the batter now will be for them the second baseman, Bryson Cox. Here's Logan's first pitch to him. Hit well to center field and deep. Swigert back on it, though. Under it now. Makes the catch for out number 3. So 3 up and 3 down for the Cherokees here in the second inning. We go to the top of the third inning. Thanks for tuning us in on our YouTube channel here on Prep Radio. That's our channel on YouTube. And we'll be back with the third inning in a moment. David Clary back here along with Lee Wexler, along with Jordan Osborne, South Doyle High School, Oak Ridge, and the Cherokees here. The Wildcats and Cherokees are tied at 2-2. Sorry to tell you this earlier, but the Wildcats will play South Doyle in the first game of the football season come mid to late August for the only the second time ever in football. The first time was in the semifinals of the state playoffs a year ago. The Wildcats winning that game at Blankenship Field. So they'll open at Blankenship Field on a Thursday night. And then in a year, we'll come to South Doyle to take on the Cherokees, coached by Clark Duncan, good friend of Coach Gaddis, former Tennessee Vol football player. Has taken 2 teams to the semifinals as a coach. Powell and South Doyle. As that pitch to Bryce Ludwikowski is high and inside, and the count is 1 ball and no strikes. It'll be Ludwikowski, up to Graff, and Franklin, the schedule 3 in Coach Free's lineup. The ball's hit well to center field, right center field, but an easy catch out there for the center fielder, Mason Chandler, and that is out number 1. So
Now batting right.
Wildcats, Caden Updegraff will stand in. Caden had a single up the middle. He's 1 for 1 in the ball game, and he stands in with 1 out, but nobody aboard here in the third. Tremblay's pitch to him is hit on the ground. This time to the third baseman, right at the bag. He's going to throw low, and it's not dug out. Caden Updegraff is going to reach first. He's going to head to second, and he'll be in there with a throwing error by the third baseman. He fielded it cleanly and then took a little bit too much time and skipped one up, and the first baseman just not able to pick it at first, and the Wildcats have a runner in scoring position with 1 out.
Yeah, ball was just fair. Stapleton for South Doyle fielded it clean. I think he had more time than maybe he thought. Ended up making a low throw, a good throw. Updegraff was out, so nonetheless, Updegraff will advance to second on a E5 throwing error.
And the batter now for the Wildcats will be Jacob Franklin. Updegraff at second, a good lead. The lefty comes to the plate, pitches low and inside. The count is 1-0. Jacob will be followed by Jason Slay, second baseman for the Wildcats. Jacob reached base safely back in the first inning when the Wildcats scored their 2 runs. We got a 2-2 ball game here. That ball's hit right in the right field. That's a solid base hit. I don't think it's deep enough, and it's not, to score with a runner, Caden Updegraff, but a nice job of hitting there by Jacob. Just hit it where the pitch was and just hit it in the right field. Solid hit. The Wildcats have runners on the corners.
Yeah, it was a good piece of hitting. He found a hole on the right side, but the right fielder for South Doyle was kind of playing in, and Updegraff wasn't going to be able to score on that. So runners at the corners with 1 out.
See what the Wildcats elect to do here. I know the Caden Updegraff checking Coach Free's signals here. Jason Slay is the batter. He was a strikeout victim in the first inning. Runners at first and second. Franklin's your runner at first. The pitch to the plate. He does square to bunt. It's a called strike, and the count is no balls and 1 strike. Kind of thought they might put a play on. The Cherokees think so too. They're kind of in at third base there, right on the grass. Lead runner out there is Caden Updegraff. See if they send Franklin on this one. Tremblay checks the runner. He's not going. The pitch is outside, and the count is even at 1 ball and 1 strike. 1 out here, 2-2 our score as the Wildcats bat here in the top of the third inning. In a game live on YouTube on our Prep Radio channel. Jason Slay will be followed by Bryson Parks. Both these guys struck out their first plate appearances. Wildcats trying to get the go-ahead run across, and there's another swing and a miss there by Slay. A pitch looked outside, and the count is 1-2. Wildcats need some contact right here. Coach Free signals the play in. Tremblay steps off the rubber. The catcher for the Cherokees is Braden Ott. Tremblay checks Franklin at first. He's going. The pitch is hit on the ground, foul. Over towards the South Doyle Cherokee dugout, and the count remains at 1-2. Oak Ridge has runners on the corners. 1 out here in a 2-2 ball game. Both teams scored their 2 runs in the first. Both teams went fairly easily in the second. The Wildcats are batting here in the third. Jason's got to make some contact here. Here's the 1-2 pitch from Tremblay. Inside corner, called strike 3. And that is the second time that Jason has struck out in this one. And now as the Wildcats do get the runner down to second, Franklin is able to advance. The batter for Oak Ridge now will be the catcher, Bryson Parks. He was a strikeout victim back in the first inning to close out the inning. Count is, or actually 2-2 is our score. We've got 2 outs now, but the Wildcats have a couple runners in scoring position. Bryson, pretty good contact guy. Let's see what he can do on this one. Here's the pitch. High and inside. 1 ball, no strikes the count.
One thing I'm noticing with Tremblay is the pitcher for South Doyle and the Oak Ridge hitters is the Oak Ridge hitters have not done well with 2 strikes so far. When they get behind in the count, they haven't been able to do much at the plate.
That pitch is outside. 2 balls and no strikes the count. Well, obviously, sometimes you have to do that when you're not sure where the strike zone is going to be. There, Lee, with this umpire. 2 balls and no strikes. On the inside corner at the knees, that's a called strike, and the count is 2 balls and 1 strike.
Yeah, I mean, when we sort of have a big zone here, and that's why it's important for the Oak Ridge hitters maybe not to fall behind early.
2-1 pitch, hit foul. off the catcher, maybe off the umpire. The count is even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Got 2 outs here. Runners at second and third. Jacob Franklin is the runner at second. Caden Updegraft is the runner at third. I think it might have hit the umpire on the right side, and catcher does a nice thing and gives him a chance to kind of shake it off just a little bit. And Bryson Parks will step back in. He'll be followed by Caden Black in the Wildcat lineup. There are 2 outs here. Wildcats need to put it in play here. Parks usually, like I said, a pretty good contact guy. Struck out his first time. Let's see what he can do on this 2-2 pitch. Hit on the ground softly to the second baseman. He fields it cleanly, throws on the first in time for out number 3. So the Wildcats once again put runners on. They leave them stranded. We go to the bottom half of the third here at South Doyle. Oak Ridge and the Cherokees tied at 2 apiece. And we'll be back on our YouTube channel, Prep Radio, in a moment. David Clary back here along with Lee Wexler, Jordan Osborne here at South Doyle High School. Beautiful day for baseball here. A little warm, much warmer than it was in some of the previous games. Remember that one game? I don't remember who they were playing. It might have been William Blunt, somebody. But I think the temperature was like 39 when we were doing that ball game. And today is much warmer. Sun beaming down on us on this Saturday afternoon, the final week of the season, I guess, final few days of the season. The Wildcats will close it out. They're scheduled to against Kingston next week, and we'll try to broadcast that game from Rome County Park out there in Kingston as the Cherokees step in, and is going to be the center fielder, Mason Chandler, to lead things off. He's another left-handed hitter here facing Logan Rosenberger in a 2-2 ball game. The pitch to him is hit on the ground foul over towards the Oak Ridge dugout on the first base side, and the count is 0-1. Top of the order, Luke Vest and Cooper Stapleton will follow in the Cherokee third inning in a 2-2 ball game. Wildcats have out-hit the Cherokees 5-2. Cherokees have committed 2 errors. The Wildcats to this point have recorded no errors. That pitch is up high ball. Evens the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Part of the problem last night, Lee, in the Wildcats' loss, I'll have to come back to that after this 1-1 pitch. Hit in the air, right center field. Matthew Swigert calls for it. He's under it and makes the catch for out number 1. So Logan's done a good job. And we go back to the top of the order. Part of the problem yesterday, Lee, in the game at Bobby Hopkins was the Wildcat pitchers walked 14 Cherokees in that game. 14 walks issued to the Cherokees, and you just can't put runners on like that. And they were able to put about 13 on the board.
No, you're not going to win any games walking 14 guys. That's why it's important to throw strikes. And so far, Rosenberg's done a nice job throwing strikes so far today.
Nice breaking pitch for a called strike, and he gets ahead of another hitter. This is Luke Vest. What did Luke do his first play? I know he reached base. I think he picked up a single to start the ballgame.
He did. He singled his first at bat.
That was back in the bottom of the first. That ball is hit on the ground. Funny hop to Jacob Franklin's going to throw on the first, and Ludwikowski on the receiving end for out number 2. So 2 up and 2 down here, and Logan being very efficient here in the last couple of innings.
Now batting third.
Well, I mean, that's what happens when you throw strikes. You get ahead in the count, you can throw whatever pitch you want. You can play offense as a pitcher when you get ahead, and you can throw whatever pitch you want. And outside of the first inning or outside the first 2 batters of the game, Rosenberg's really settled down.
Here's Logan's pitch to the plate. Breaking pitch, then there for a called strike. Cooper Stapleton, the batter, I think he doubled to the wall back in the first inning. He's playing third base for the Cherokees. The 1-strike pitch almost hits him. It's inside, rushes him off the plate, pushes him off the plate, and the count is even at 1 ball, 1 strike. Nobody aboard for South Doyle, and a 2-2 ball game as the Cherokees bat here in the third. Inside, call the ball, 2 balls and 1 strike. Lee Wexler doing the book and color commentary. Jordan Osborne doing camera work and technical work. 2 balls, 1 strike, the count. Breaking pitch hit in the air, right side to Caden Updegraff. He makes a catch out in the right field. He came in on it. I think he was surprised, Lee, just how hard that ball was hit. Made a kind of a snow cone catch out there in right field, but it counts just the same for out number 3.
That ball was smoked. I mean, that was a good backside approach that time by Stapleton. But Updegraff makes a leaping catch, and a good inning for Rosenberg that time. 3 up, 3 down.
2 hardest hit balls of this ball game by the Cherokees, both by Cooper Stapleton. That time, out number 3. So we go to the top half of the 4th inning. We're at South Doyle High School, South Knox County, right off of Alcoa Highway. If you've never been here, it's out in the country. Beautiful place to watch a ball game. A beautiful Saturday afternoon on this first day of May. And we'll be back for the top half of the 4th inning in a moment. Welcome back to South Doyle High School here on Prep Radio on our channel on YouTube. That is our channel on YouTube. Leading things off for the Wildcats here in the top of the 4th will be the number 9 hitter, the freshman shortstop, Caden Black. Caden was a strikeout victim back in the 2nd inning when he led off that inning. First pitch to him is at helmet level, and the count is 1 ball and no strikes. 2-2 our score. Jacob Tremblay with the 1-0 pitch. Called a strike at the knees, evens the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Good location there, right down the heart of the plate, right at the knees. Caden took it, and the count is 1-1. That one above helmet level, and the count is 2-1. So he's gone from low to high, trying to make the freshman swing. And one thing I've noticed about Caden in this season, in my first actually look at him, he's very disciplined at the plate, especially for a freshman. 2-1 pitch, hit well into left field. That's a base hit. So Caden Black, the freshman, just kind of tomahawked it. That pitch was above his shoulders, I believe, Lee, and he just stroked it into left field the opposite way, and the Wildcats had their leadoff man again. Wildcats have had base runners all over the place in this one.
Yeah, they left 6 men on so far, but yeah, Caden Black, that ball's a little up, maybe at the letters, maybe at the chin. And just sliced it the other way for a no-out single, leadoff single. Let's see if Oak Ridge can maybe get some runners in motion, get the runners over. Left too many men on so far.
Leadoff man Matthew Swigert, only senior in the Wildcat lineup. He's been on base twice, led the game off and takes one high. 1 ball, no strikes. Led the game off with a double, came around to score the Wildcats' first run. I think he reached on an error, I believe, back in his second plate appearance. Actually walked. Thank you, Lee. That's what trouble when you don't have the book in front of you and you kind of rely on an old memory. As that pitch is way up high. 2 balls and no strikes. Snap throw down to first, and Caden got back safely. Matthew ahead in the count here. 2 balls, no strikes. Nobody out here. Nobody aboard. Wildcats batting in the fourth in a 2-2 ball game from South Doyle. Leading hitter on the team. Here's a pitch to him. Kind of crossed him up the catcher, I believe. And I think it looked like a good pitch, honestly. I think the Oak Ridge fans didn't like is the catcher kind of was not expecting it to be in the position where he caught it, but I think it was a strike.
Yeah, I mean, it looked good from here, but the catcher went down to block it, and it wasn't even close to being in the dirt.
2 balls, 1 strike. Coach Free flashes the signals once again. He's in the third base coaching box. Didn't start the season as the third base coach, but kind of took over, especially with this young team, 1 senior. 2-1 pitch, runner is going. He fouls it back to the screen. So he protected him, but that was going to be a stolen base there for Black. But, he protected his runner, fouled it off. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
It almost looked like a hit and run just because of Swigert. That ball was way outside, and Swigert swung the bat. And just judging by Coach Free's reaction, I think that was a little hit and run.
I agree, because he wasn't upset with him at all, because two balls and 2 strikes. Nobody out here. Caden Black returns to first. Let's see what Matthew can do with a 2-2 pitch. Tremblay to the plate. Here it is. Hit well into center field. That's a base hit. Great job of hitting. Matthew just put his bat out there and plunked it into center field. Nice job of hitting Matthew Swigert. He's got 2 hits in the ballgame.
And ball is low and away. Yeah, it kind of just threw the barrel out. Found a good piece, drove it up the middle, and we're going to have a mound visit here. So, yeah, Swigert, he's been on all 3 times. That's what you need out of your leadoff guy. Oak Ridge has two fast runners at first and second so far as we get our mound visit. So, Oak Ridge, they've left a lot of men on so far. I'd like to see, with the heart of the order coming up, I'd like to see maybe we might see a bunt here. Maybe we might see a double steal. But Oak Ridge needs to get something going here as the game's still tied at 2.
The bottom part of the order has been the struggle for the Wildcats when they've had the runners left on base. But as Lee mentioned, they do have the top of the order. Number 2 guy, Logan Rosenberger, will stand in for the Wildcats. He pitched a great ball game to this point, especially after the first inning. In the first inning, it looked kind of shaky there, Lee. But since that time, Logan has really settled down.
Yeah, he settled down. He's been throwing strikes. I think he's kind of worked his fastball in the inside part of the plate. I think he's had the South Doyle hitters maybe off balance. Their timing's been off. He's kind of floated it in there. He's not overpowering the hitters, but he's just locating well. And South Doyle, they haven't been able to catch any barrels outside the first 2 at-bats of the game.
Logan Rosenberger does stand in. Here's the pitch. He does square to bunt. The ball is in the dirt. Nice block by the catcher there, and it could have resulted in the Wildcats having runners at second and third, but he kept them there. And it counts as 1 ball and no strikes. I've been really impressed with their catcher. He's does a good job framing. He does a good job blocking. Braden Ott threw a laser down at third to get Matthew Swigert at third, trying to steal a base. Very impressed with him. 1 ball, no strikes to count. 2-2 our score. Here's the pitch. He squares to bunt, does bunt it up the third base line. He's got 1 play, and that's to first, and he executes the sacrifice bunt to perfection there, Lee Wexler. Just put it down in the grass up the third base line. No play at all for the third baseman at either bag. Only had 1 out, and that was to get the sacrifice. Logan Rosenberger at first. The Wildcats have a couple runners in scoring position with 1 out.
Yeah, it was a good sack. Got Swigert and Black over to second and third. And McNaughton, who struck out and lined out to third his last time, needs to put a ball in play. Oak Ridge needs a run here.
Caden Black takes his lead off of third. Matthew Swigert off of second. Here's the pitch to McNaughton. Takes one on the inside corner for a called strike. No balls and 1 strike. 1 out here in the 4th inning in a 2-2 ball game. A game we're broadcasting live on YouTube, our Prep Radio channel. Alex McNaughton stands in. Right-handed hitting junior left fielder. Jacob Tremblay with a pitch. Cut on and foul tipped into the mitt, and Alex is behind in the count. He fell behind the first time and eventually struck out, I believe. He's behind in this count, 0-2 here. Got to be a hitter. Wildcats, as you mentioned, when they've gotten runners at second and third, the Tremblay has rallied. Let's see what McNaughton can do with an 0-2 pitch. Hits it on the ground. That's going to get a run in. He has one play, and that's to first. And then come back to third. The Wildcats get Swigert over to third, and the Wildcats take the lead. Good job of hitting that time by Alex McNaughton. Just hit a one-hopper to the third baseman. Had no play at the plate and got the safe out at first. And the Wildcats retake the lead at 3-2.
Well, I thought if Stapleton fields the ball clean, he might have had Black out at home, but he didn't field it clean. He took it off the chest, and he only had one play after that. So Oak Ridge gets the run, and they're leading 3-2.
2 outs now. Batters Lebowkowski hits the ball foul and back out of play over towards the South Doyle Baseball Complex. Your alma mater did good work last night. We'll talk about that in a moment. There, Lee. Lee went to Riverdale High School in Murfreesboro. Bryce Lebowkowski behind the count 0-1. Pitch is a called strike. Pretty pitch at the knees on the outside corner of the plate. The count is 0-2. We'll talk about Riverdale. We don't want to talk about Riverdale in prime time. We'll wait till the between innings here. No balls and 2 strikes. Swigert at third. The pitch is hit foul over towards the South Doyle dugout. Just kind of stayed alive, put his bat out there and fouled it. The count remains at 0-2. 3-2 Wildcats here. The Wildcats putting the first run on the board since the first inning when both teams scored 2. Swigert takes his lead off of third. Tremblay checks the runner. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Hit on the ground in the hole. That's in the left field. That is a base hit, an RBI single for the first baseman, Bryce Ludwikowski. And the Wildcats take a 4-2 lead. They were kind of in on the infield. Once the ball got past the shortstop in the left field, that was going to be an easy hit.
Yeah, that ball was placed in the only spot it could have went if it was going to get through in the deep 6th hole. Hit it hard enough, and it was a good RBI. He had 2 strikes. Oak Ridge has not done too good of a job with 2 strikes, but that time they did, and it's 4-2 now.
So the Wildcats do have the lead 4-2. They scored 2 in the first. South Doyle scored 2 in the first, and the Wildcats have retaken the lead. We're in the top of the 4th inning. 2 outs, runner at first. Lebowkowski, not great speed out there. Caden Updegraff, the batter, he's had a good day. That pitch to him is a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. What has Caden done?
He hit a single and reached on a throwing error from the third baseman.
Lebowkowski takes his lead off of first. RBI single. He's there. 1 ball, no strikes. The count. The pitch is cut on and missed. Evens the count at 1-1. 4-2 Wildcats as they bat here in the 4th inning in this non-district ball game. South Doyle. As I mentioned, we'll play South Doyle in football for only the 2nd time ever. Opening day, Blankenship Field, Thursday night. Rivalry Thursday. Here's the pitch to Caden. That's high. And the count is 2-1. What a great day it is for baseball. Every day is a great day for baseball.
Yeah, very, very great weather here today. Beautiful day. I don't know if you could ask for any better weather for spring baseball.
2-1 pitch to Caden, hit on the ground over the pitcher's head. It's going to be a bang-bang play. He can't make it. And right behind the bag, the shortstop couldn't make the play. He dove for it, but the second baseman was in perfect position as the ball was bounding over the bag. And as I mentioned, Bryce, not with the fleetest of foot, wasn't able to get down to the bag before the tag was made at second for the force out for out number 3. So a tough break there. But the Wildcats do put 2 on the board, and they lead South Doyle 4-2 as we go to the bottom half of the 4th inning. Let's talk about Riverdale, the Warriors, your alma mater, our nemesis in football for so many years. I heard they had a pretty good baseball team.
Yeah, they're looking pretty good this year. I think the record is about 23-5, 24-5. They clinched the regular season title last night at Stewart's Creek. Won it in 14 innings, I believe. And they've clinched the regular season. So, of course, this year, in years past, what they've done is the regular season champion has that automatic bid. I don't know if they do that in this region with Oak Ridge. I don't know if they do that. Normally, they've done that in years past. But this year, they did away with that. So, Riverdale's not going to get rewarded necessarily for winning the regular season. So, they still have to do good in the district tournament coming up, which they get to host. But, yeah, they're looking pretty good so far.
Well, that's good to know. Always good to know that the Riverdale Warriors are good at something still. As the bottom half of the 4th inning stands in, starts, and the Logan Rosenberger, who's been really good since the first inning. And where are we in the order here? It looks like 3, 4, and 5. It'll be Braden Knott, the catcher, leading things off. The pitch to him is a breaking pitch hit deep to left field. The left fielder, Alex McNaughton, back. He looks up. It's over the fence. No, it's right at the base of the fence for a double. I thought it was going over by McNaughton's reaction. It hit right at the base of the wall there, and that is a leadoff double for Oz. So a good start for the Cherokees. So like we saw in the first inning when Oak Ridge put 2 on the board, here come the Cherokees.
Yeah, Ott kind of just threw the barrel out. The wind kind of moving from right to left. The ball just kept carrying. I thought it was going to go over, but ends up staying in the park. And that was just a good at-bat by Braden Ott. He got a good piece that time.
Small dimensions here at the field. Down the left field line is 312. In the power alley and left, it's 350. Dead center, what is that number out there? 350 as well, as that pitch is down low a ball. And down the right field line, I cannot see the number. Runner at second. We've got nobody out in a 4-2 ball game with the Wildcats in the lead. Rosenberger working from the stretch, facing Worker, the right fielder. The pitch to him is a called strike, and that evens the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. South Doyle, the location. The Wildcats close out their year. The schedule says Kingston. I believe it's early next week. We will try to broadcast that ball game. 1 ball, 1 strike, the count. Logan Rosenberger to the plate, hit on the ground. 1 hop. They have a play at third, but Caden's going to get the sure out at first. But I thought maybe if he whirls and throws it to Jacob Franklin, they might get the runner coming to third. But Caden made the safe play, got the out at first, and that's out number 1. But the Cherokees have a runner at third with 1 out.
Yeah, he definitely had the runner out going to third. I was surprised the runner even took off from second to third, but got a ground ball, 1 out. Let's see if they can get around Will Davis here.
Will Davis is the designated hitter, hitting in the number 5 spot here for Jacob Tremblay, and he takes the ball. 1 ball, no strikes, the count. What did Will do his first plate appearance?
He grounded out to Caden Black at short.
So the Cherokees have a runner at third in a 4-2 ball game, batting in the bottom of the 4th. The Wildcats in the lead. Rosenberger comes to the plate, hit on the ground to shortstop Caden Black again, kind of eats it up. He has time to throw, but not in time, and throws wildly, and they have a runner on base. So ball was hit hard. He didn't field it cleanly, and the run comes in to score, and they've got a runner, the potential tying runner on base, and that is the first error of the ball game for the Wildcats. So it's now 4-3, and could have been out number 2. The ball was hit like a rope, though, to Black. And I think once he wasn't able to field it, he threw one wildly. Didn't result in anything. I don't know if he'd have gotten him after that anyway. They do credit an error to the Wildcat shortstop, and it's 4-3 now. Got a pinch runner coming into the game for the Cherokees. I don't know if you've got their lineup here, Lee, but they've got a pinch runner coming in. He represents the tying run. And the batter for them will be the first baseman, Dylan Thomas. Jaden Faust is the pinch runner for, I believe that would be Worker, I believe. Was that Worker? Oh, Will Davis, my apologies. So they're running for the DH here as the right-hander stands in. Playing first base, this is Dylan Thomas. What did Dylan do earlier?
Grounded right back to the pitcher last time.
Takes one high and inside. 1 ball, no strikes to count. 4-3 Oak Ridge, 4th inning. So the Wildcats scored 2 in the first. The Cherokees followed with 2 in the first. Wildcats scored 2 here in the 4th, and the Cherokees have put 1 on the board here in a 4-3 game. 1 out here, the pitch. Looks like low and inside, I guess. The right side of the stands don't like it. The left side of the stands, they love it. And the count is 2 balls and no strikes. On the road here in Knox County, 2 balls, no strikes, the count. Rosenberger comes to the plate. That one's down low, a ball. And the count is 3 balls and no strikes. So Logan, who has really not had any stressful innings since the first inning, has given up a run here. He's got a runner at first and a 3-0 pitch. That's a called strike at the belt, perhaps a little higher than the belt. And the count is 3-1.
This is only the second 3-ball count Rosenberger's gotten to today, so he's throwing strikes.
Logan checks the runner at first. Here's the 3-1 pitch hit on the ground. High hopper. Jacob Franklin at third. Goes to second for the short one and gets the first out. The lead man is retired. Nice play. Jacob Franklin getting the force out at second to retire the pinch runner for the second out in the inning. And it'll be Thomas reaching first on the fielder's choice. And there's 2 outs now. Good play by Jacob. I thought we saw one earlier in the ball game where the ball just kind of bounced and it got over the top of Jacob. This time he was able to make the play, and then a strong throw. The Wildcat pitcher delivered it to second to get the force out.
Yeah, he caught the ball through a rocket over there to Slay, who's covering the bag. And 2 outs so far as we have time. I don't know if we're going to have another pinch runner. Yeah, I think we are going to have another pinch runner here.
They're trying to get the first baseman. I don't know how fast he is. I know I wouldn't want to meet him in a boxing ring. He's a big dude. He's going to come out of the ball game, and they are going to get a runner for him. And out of the contest, Dylan Thomas comes, and they do have a courtesy runner in the ball game for him. Get his number. Looks like number 12 there.
It'll be Caleb Davis.
So Caleb Davis is the runner for the Cherokees. 4-3 Oak Ridge as the Cherokees bat here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Left-hander Beale is the batter. Quick throw over to first and try to get Davis quickly. And they threw over before Logan delivered a pitch. Logan works from the first base side of the rubber, facing the left-handed hitting Beale, and the ball is hit to left field. Alex McNaughton should make the catch, steps back about 3 steps, and makes the catch. And just like that, that is out number 3. But the Cherokees make it a 1-run ball game. They put 1 on the board. The Wildcats had an error in the inning. We go to the top of the 5th inning here at South Doyle High School. On our YouTube channel, Prep Radio. Thanks for tuning us in wherever you might be. Of course, you can watch it at any time as this game will be archived on our Prep Radio channel. 4-3 Wildcats. We'll be back for the top of the 5th inning. David Clary, Lee Wexler, and Jordan Osborne in a moment. David Clary back here along with Lee Wexler, Jordan Osborne. The Wildcats on top of South Doyle. 4-3. Oak Ridge has out-hit the Cherokees 7-3. Cherokees have committed 2 errors. The Wildcats won. The Wildcats, their biggest bugaboo to this point, Lee, is they've left too many runners on base as we've got a pitching change. We got a couple changes.
We got a pitching change and a couple defensive changes. Mason Chandler will move from center field. He is now pitching. Jacob Tremblay, the pitcher, will move to right field. And Creed Worker will move from right field to center field.
4-3 Oak Ridge as the Wildcats bat here in the top of the 5th inning. The batter is Jacob Franklin. He takes 1 high, and the count is 1 ball and no strikes. It'll be Jacob Franklin, Jason Slay, Bryson Parks. The scheduled 3 for Coach Travis Free's lineup. That pitch is a called strike at the knees on the outside half of the plate. And the count is even at 1 ball and 1 strike. Chandler comes to the plate, hit in the air, foul over to the right side, heading toward Lee's car, barely misses it, and it goes bouncing off in the parking lot. I saw insurance adjusters being called immediately, but you got lucky there, Lee.
I know my dad's listening. My car is way out in the parking lot. It wasn't even close.
You're no fun. That pitch is a ball, and the count is even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Nobody aboard, nobody out here. 4-3 Wildcats. Here's the pitch to Franklin, hit foul, right side, deep, very deep, drifting over towards the fence, and I believe they make the catch by the right fielder, or maybe the first baseman. I couldn't see. It was way out of my view. I could not see it at all. They're going to say it is a foul ball. And I think Jacob did circle the bases, went all the way around, and got a little workout in. Just a foul ball, no catch made.
We didn't see the ball. It went out. It looked like it landed foul because the umpire said it went foul, but we're instructed by the dugout. The South Doyle crowd was cheering, and then the Oak Ridge fans started cheering. So I don't know, a lot happened, but it's going to be a long foul ball.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Jacob's probably out of breath here. He's going to hit one hard and opposite way, and once again over towards the Oak Ridge dugout. Hope everybody's okay. Jordan was ducking as usual. Ball is out of play, and the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes. The good thing about it, Jordan, they can't see, and neither could your dad, Lee, see that the car was really totaled by that foul ball there. 2 balls and 2 strikes, nobody aboard, nobody out. Jacob Franklin, the sophomore, back in, hits the ball foul up the third base line. Luckily, the ball didn't bounce back into fair territory because Ott was on it immediately. And the count remains at 2 balls and 2 strikes. I think this could be a pretty good rivalry in all sports. We're going to start playing them in football, obviously, in the regular season. We had never played them before until last year. 2-2 pitch. Bounced about 3 feet in front of the plate, and the count, I believe, is full now. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Jacob had a good opposite field single, one of his plate appearances. What else has he done?
He reached on a fielder's choice.
Right-handed hitting sophomore. Mason Chandler, lefty, comes to the plate. 3-2 pitch. Hit well. Left field to the left fielder. It's over his head. Rolling to the wall. Bounces against the fence. Jacob Franklin around first. Heading towards second. And in he goes with a double. Ball was hit right on the button. I believe the left fielder, who I believe just entered the ball game in left field, or is it the same guy? I couldn't remember if they made the change. Is Beale out there. He came in on it. I don't think he thought the ball was hit that hard, and Jacob's at second base with nobody out.
That ball was stroked. That was a laser, and Beale's first couple steps were in, and then he froze, and then the ball sailed over his head. And so if he moves back on the ball, that might have been caught. That ball was a frozen rope. That ball didn't get any air underneath it at all. It's a leadoff double, and let's see if Oak Ridge can move the runners here and get another run and get some insurance here.
Jason has struggled to make contact here in the ball game. He does square to bunt, takes one at the knees for a called strike. No balls and 1 strike. Coach Free not too happy about that. Got to put bat on the ball there as Wildcats have a runner at second with nobody out. That is Jacob Franklin. Jason Slay is the batter. Had a tough game to this point, a couple strikeouts. Shortstop sneaks in a little bit behind Franklin, and that forces Chandler to step off the rubber. Franklin kind of bothering him a bit. Jason's got to put the Wildcats got to get that runner to the third.
Yeah, I mean, if you're struggling at the plate, one thing you can do is choke up and maybe hit something the other way, maybe get that runner over, just have a quality at bat and give the guy on deck a chance to drive in a run.
No balls, 1 strike. Chandler squares to bunt. Oh, he bunts it perfectly. That's going to be a base hit. Great play. And the Wildcats are going to try to score. Here's the throw at the plate. He's safe. The Wildcats score on a infield bunt single. Great base running by Jacob Franklin. A great bunt by Jason Slay. Once it got past the pitcher, it was in no man's land, and the Wildcats now lead it by a score of 5-3. What a play. What great base running by Jacob Franklin.
Oh, yeah, I mean, a lot happened on the play. It was a hard bunt on the right side. It was a good push bunt in no man's land. The pitcher and the first baseman were charging, and the second baseman was covering first. So nobody's covering in that area out there, and everyone's running to the ball. Franklin's rounding third, and we'll have to ask Coach Free what happened. I don't know if you saw, Franklin almost ran over Coach Free rounding the base, so we'll have to get on Coach Free because that almost was a disaster for Franklin. But nonetheless, the run scores, and there's still nobody out.
5-3 Wildcats. Jason is the base runner at first. Jason Slay, great bunt. Here's the pitch to Bryson Parks. Outside corner for a called strike, and the count is 1 ball and no strikes. 5-3 Wildcats. So Chandler has been greeted not so warmly on this warm day by the Wildcats. Couple base hits to start his frame, and Parks takes one, and they're going to go with the base runner. He throws it into center field. Jason Slay is going to head towards third. He's going to have to get down. He is safe. and the Wildcats have runners at third. Probably not the wisest decision to go on to third. A good throw, and they've got him out, but the Wildcats have a runner at third base with nobody out.
Looking at Coach Free's reaction, I don't know if Slay was supposed to steal because Park squared around and Slay ended up taking second, but South Doyle really didn't necessarily cover the bag. The ball sailed way right of the bag and went in center field.
Parks hits it foul back into the parking lot once again, and the count is 1-2 strikes. The Wildcats on top 5-3. Jason Slay is now the runner at third. There's still nobody out here. Mason Chandler trying to work out of a miss here. Here's Parks, and pitch to him is low and outside. That evens the count at 2-2 strikes. I was just fortunate. He was fortunate, really, that Jason was able to get to third, too. I mean, because he was not running too fast between second and third. But he's there. 2-2 pitch, breaking pitch, way outside, but called a strike. It was a breaking pitch. It broke, but when it was caught by the catcher behind the plate, and that is a strikeout looking. One out here in the inning, and the batter will be the shortstop, Caden Black. Caden's had a really good game, had a line drive single to left center field, one of his plate appearances. Wildcats need to get this other run in. That's a ball. 1 no strikes the count. One out here in the top of the fifth. The Wildcats once again have a 2-run lead, 5-3 now, but they've got a runner at third, and Jason Slay. Pitch on the inside corner at the knees for a called strike. 1 strike. Really nice pitch that time by Mason Chandler. 2 strikes. Oak Ridge fans not too happy with that. There's a swinging strike by Caden Black. Matthew Swigert, the leadoff man, has been on base 3 times. He's on deck for the Wildcats. 2 strikes. 1 out. Here's the pitch. Outside and high. And the count is 2 strikes. Umpires are only human, Lee. I don't know why you're always so critical. 2 strikes the count. Lefty comes to the plate against the lefty. He swings and he foul tips it into the mid, and that is a strikeout. So it's tough for a lefty to go against a lefty, and now it's up to the top of the order and Matthew Swigert. See if the Wildcats can get that 6th run in here with Slay, the runner at third. But the Wildcats, productive inning with the run, still batting here in the top of the order here. Chandler works really fast, comes to the plate, hit in the air to center field. That should be easy. And the center fielder's under it, and he makes the catch for out number 3. But the Wildcats once again boost their lead up to 2 runs. The Wildcats on top 5-3 over South Doyle as the Cherokees prepare to bat in the bottom half of the 5th inning. We're on YouTube, broadcasting live on Prep Radio. We appreciate South Doyle and their athletic director, Clark Duncan, for allowing us to broadcast this ball game. We don't get the same luxury sometimes at home, but, that's difference in philosophies as the Wildcats lead in this game by a score of 5-3. My name is David Clary, along with Lee Wexler, along with Jordan Osborne. While we have a moment, why don't you kind of recap kind of what's happened in this ball game for both teams, Lee?
On the first inning, Oak Ridge got up to a 2-0 lead. They had a double by Matthew Swigert, followed by hit by pitch by Logan Rosenberg. McNaughton struck out, and we've had 2 singles back-to-back by Ludwikowski and Updegraff that drove in a couple runs, and they weren't able to get anything after that. South Doyle was able to tag on 2 more runs in the bottom half of the first with a single and a double to lead off. Had a sac fly by Braden Ott. And other than that, it's been a pitching duel. We've seen good pitching by Oak Ridge pitcher Logan Rosenberg. He's kept Rosenberger. Thanks, David. I don't want to get that wrong. He's thrown strikes. Had a few barrels by South Doyle. He's gotten them off timing. Oak Ridge had a sort of a big inning that time. Stranded a runner at third with nobody out. A nice bunt by Jason Slay. Had a leadoff double by Jacob Franklin to get a run in. And it's 5-3 right now. We're in the bottom of the 5th. Rosenberger's still pitching.
Yeah, he's been very efficient. I don't know if you're keeping all the pitch count there, but I think he's been very efficient. He's only really had maybe 2 innings where they were somewhat stressful. He's gotten some 1-pitch outs several times in this ball game. He'll be facing the 3, 4, and 5 hitters in their lineup, I believe. Actually, 8, 9, 1, thank you. Bryson Cox, the second baseman here. Thank you, Lee. That's why you keep the book. Here's a nice bunt up the third base line. Franklin fields it. It's got a good play. Throws on the first in time for out number 1. So there's another efficient out there. 1 pitch, 1 out. Bunt was a little bit too hard. Franklin was in anyway, and he made a nice throw. Jacobs just got a good arm. He's obviously a good pitcher for the Wildcats, good hitter, good all-around baseball player. And it's an easy out here for the Wildcats here in the bottom of the 5th. And the batter now for them will be Chandler. And he rips one down the left field line, and it's fair. Rounding first and heading towards second will go number 1 for them, Mason Chandler, and that is a 1-out double for them. The ball was hit right on the button. Screened again by the dugout here. Didn't see where the ball landed. Obviously, ball was hit right on the line, and they've got a runner at second with 1 out.
Yeah, the ball was hit well, it was hit deep. Man, we're obstructed by the dugout, so if it was fair, it was just fair.
Back to the top of the order we go to the shortstop, Luke Vest. Luke had a hit, at least one hit, I remember, in the first inning. Came around to score their first run of the ball game. 5-3 Wildcats. Rosenberger checks the runner at second, comes to the plate with a breaking pitch. Outside and low, and the count is 1 ball and no strikes. What else has Luke done in the ball game?
I grounded out to third.
So he's 1 for 2 in the ball game. 5-3 Oak Ridge, 5th inning. Rosenberger checks the runner at second, comes to the plate, hit well into center field. Matthew Swigert will have to field it on a bounce, and they've got runners on the corners with 1 out. The ball is stroked into center field. Luke Vest with the base hit is second of the ball game, and the go-ahead run comes to the plate in the person of Cooper Stapleton. So far, Logan has not really fooled him. I think he's retired him once, but Stapleton has hit the ball right on the button twice.
Yeah, he hit a double, and then he hit that frozen rope up to Grafton right field, who made a leaping grab. And Stapleton's last at bat. He's hit the ball hard both times.
Let's see what Logan can do differently here. Bryson Parks is your catcher for the Wildcats. 5-3 Oak Ridge. Tying run is at first base. The go-ahead run at the plate. 1 out here. Here's the pitch. Hit hard again. You talk about somebody who can barrel up the ball. That is Cooper Stapleton. He has hit nothing but shots. That one was fouled, fortunately, for the Wildcats, but he has hit nothing but ropes.
Almost looked like they put Luke Vest in motion. He's just now returning to first, so maybe a little hit-and-run action. But, yeah, Stapleton continues to hit the ball hard.
Runners on the corners. 5-3 Oak Ridge. 1 out here. 1 strike the count. Stapleton back in. The pitch is a breaking pitch high. Here's the throw down, and they're going to come. They have her play at third. Now they're going to come home, and Wildcats' hesitation cost them a run. The Wildcats went ahead with a throw. It was going to be an easily stolen base, and then the hesitation. The runner broke from third, and he scored. The throw was high to Parks, and he had no chance. Put the tag down. Just a little bit of hesitation out there, and that cost Oak Ridge the run.
Yeah, I think it was Slay who caught that. I'm not sure, but kind of threw it when he threw it home, kind of threw it off his back foot, and it sailed high, and South Doyle runner was able to evade the tag.
Pretty pitch that time by Rosenberger. Breaking pitch in there for a called strike, 1-2. So now the tying run is at second base. And Cooper Stapleton has a 1-ball, 2-strike count on him. Runner at second, 5-4 Oak Ridge. The pitch hit on the ground, second base side. Slay fields it, throws on the Ludwikowski, throws it away. And another run will score. So another mistake there by a sophomore fielder. He throws it into the dugout, and we've got a tie ball game. Sometimes, Lee, when you got youth out there playing, they make youthful mistakes. I thought he did a really good job getting to the ball. He had, I think, a lot more time than he thought to throw out the runner, and he just kind of sailed it away from Ludwikowski, and we're tied at 5-5. Tough break there for the Wildcats.
We were bragging about how hard Stapleton's hitting the ball. He ended up hitting a little capper, had a little spin on it, and Slay fielded it clean. He probably could have touched the base himself, ends up sailing it into the dugout. So game's tied at 5, and the leading runner is Cooper Stapleton's at second.
Wildcats committed a couple errors last night. Here's the pitch. Bounces away from Parks, and the go-ahead run is now going to be at third base and a 1-ball, no-strike count. That's what we talked about here, Lee. When you got a young team, you've got a sophomore playing second, you've got a freshman playing short, you got a sophomore playing third, and you got a first-time player at first. Sometimes you make mistakes, and we saw that in the Central ball game. And we hopefully it's not going to have that kind of repeat of that game as that ball is hit foul. The count is 1 ball and 2 strikes. They're young and they haven't played a whole lot of competitive ball, and they make mistakes. That's all I can say. 1 ball, 2 strikes the count. Here's the pitch. A little bit high, a little bit above the belt. The count is even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Jordan Osborne doing camera work here. He's the birthday boy. Today he becomes 18 years old. Happy birthday to Jordan. Here's the 2-2 pitch, low and outside. Count is 3 balls and 2 strikes. He told me on the way over here he doesn't like to make a big deal of his birthday, and here I go on worldwide TV telling everybody that it is his 18th birthday. 3-2 pitch from Logan Rosenberger. Hit on the ground, foul again. Up the third base side and rolling towards their tarp, which is kind of rolled up down on the left side. Count remains full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Tough inning here for Logan Rosenberger. He's made some pretty good pitches. They've hit the ball a couple times hard, but trying to get out of a mess here. The go-ahead run is at third. And another 3-2 pitch. Breaking pitch hit to left field. That's going to score the run, I believe. Alex McNaughton is back on it, makes the catch, and the Cherokees have their first lead of the ballgame on a sacrifice fly and an RBI, and the Wildcats trail for the first time 6-5. Tough inning for the Wildcats and Logan Rosenberger, but that's baseball. Lee Wexler is part of the game as Creed Worker will be the batter here. Nobody aboard and 2 outs now.
Yeah, I mean, Rosenberger's continuing to throw strikes. He's gotten a ground ball, but South Doyle, they're putting the ball in play, and, when you put the ball in play, good things can happen for you.
Especially in high school ball, I'll be honest with you, because there's a called strike on the inside corner at the knees. If you put the ball in play, a lot of times good things happen, just like we've seen. Some plays are made, some are not. Here's Rosenberger's pitch. That's hit in the left field. That's a base hit. Really solid hit that time for Creed Worker, the right. Actually, he's not playing right field now, or has he moved into – he's in center field. So he's aboard safely, and the batter will be the designated hitter, Will Davis. 6-3, South Doyle Cherokees as they bat – or 5-5, I'm sorry. 6-5. What did I say?
Well, you said 6-3, then you said 5-5, and then it's 6-5 South Doyle.
Hey, that's why I keep you 2 guys around here. 6-5 Cherokees. Runner at first, designated hitter. Will Davis, the hitter. He takes a called strike, and the count is no balls and 1 strike. One thing that Logan told me on the TV show the other day is that when he was younger, he would get really upset when things like this would happen, when things just did not go his way, but seems very, very poised out there, very kind of used to it. He's the number 1 guy, and, he's lost a few games this year, but, he's gone up against the best teams in our district, and he's gone up against the best teams we've played typically, and win-loss record I don't think is a big a deal for him as they throw over to first and almost got the runner at first, but seems very unaffected at this point, trying to get out of this inning with no further damage. Here's the 0-2 pitch, breaking pitch, cut on a miss, and that is a swinging strikeout. Might have been foul tipped into the mitt. But the Cherokees, they put 3 on the board, their biggest inning to this point. They now lead the Wildcats of Oak Ridge by a score of 6-5 as we go to the top half of the 6th inning. We'll take a break here. We're on YouTube. My name is David Clary, along with Lee Wexler and Jordan Osborne. 6-3 South Doyle, and we'll be back in a moment. Welcome back once again to South Doyle High School on our YouTube channel, Prep Radio. David Clary, Lee Wexler, Jordan Osborne. Wildcats have the 2, 3, and 4 hitters, Logan Rosenberger, Alex McNaughton, and Bryce Ludwikowski. Ball's hit foul up the third base line, fielded by Coach Free. Fields it, does the former Sullivan South player. Throws it back to the pitcher, Mason Chandler, and the count is 0-1. Cut on a miss, and now it's 0-2. Rosenberger's been on base at least once in the ball game.
Yeah, he's been hit by a pitch, had a single, a second at bat, and had a sac bunt.
He's had a good day at the plate. Really pitched the ball well for the Wildcats. Their breaking pitch on the outside corner. It was about a foot outside, but it was a called strike. I guess in the umpire's mind, is too close to take. But just because it's a breaking pitch does not mean that it's a strike. And that was a nice breaking pitch, but it never caught the plate. And the count, when you had 2 strikes, that's out number 3. I said it loud enough, I think. Lee didn't want to talk. Ball's hit well, deep to left field. Going back, it's out of here. Home run! Home run, Alex McNaughton. Then the Wildcats had tied the ball game. 6-6 our score. Alex McNaughton on the first pitch takes Mason Chandler over the left field fence, and it's 6-6. The Wildcats and Cherokees.
That was a bomb. I thought he got a little thin. It was a fastball inside part of the plate. He just launched it, hit the trees out there. That ball's in the sticks. That was way out of here. It's good at bat. Good comeback. Pitcher struck out Rosenberg on 3 pitches and then comes right back to McNaughton and makes a mistake, and McNaughton makes him pay for it.
And it's tied at 6, so both teams just, when one scores, the other scores. And here comes the pitch to Ludwikowski, and Chandler's not happy. He throws one almost back to the screen. 6-6 our score. We're in the 6th inning. Fun ball game to watch here, Lee.
Yeah, it's just been back and forth.
Pitch is outside, and the count is 2 balls and no strikes. Alex McNaughton with the long ball to tie the ball game up. Hopefully our ace cameraman, birthday boy Jordan Osborne, caught it on film as the pitch is cut on and missed by Bryce Ludwikowski, and the count is 2-1. What has Bryce done today?
He has a single. He has actually 2 singles and has flown out to center.
2-1 pitch. Hit in the air, right side, shallow. The second baseman back on it and makes the catch for out number 2. And the batter now will be Caden Updegraft, the right fielder for the Wildcats. Caden's been on base today. 6-6 our score. The Wildcats scoring on the Alex McNaughton home run to tie the ball game at 6 after the Cherokee scored 3 in the previous inning. Here's Caden's pitch. First pitch to him is a ball outside. 1 ball, no strikes. What has Caden done today?
Has a single, reached on an error by the third baseman, and grounded out to second.
Pitch is hit in the air, center field, deep, but not deep enough. Center fielder back on it, under it, makes the catch for out number 3. Ball was hit very, very high, but not far enough. But the Wildcats tie the ball game on the Alex McNaughton home run. We go to the bottom half of the 6th inning here at South Doyle, and a wonderfully played ball game here on a beautiful day on this May 1st. The Wildcats of Oak Ridge and the South Doyle Cherokees tied at 6. And we'll be back on YouTube in a moment. David Clary back here along with Lee Wexler, Jordan Osborne here. We go to the bottom half of the 6th inning. Oak Ridge and South Doyle tied at 6 in high school ball, non-district ball game. live broadcast on YouTube on our Prep Radio channel. Looks like we've got some changes here for the Wildcats.
Yeah, Logan Rosenberger is going to go to third, and Jacob Franklin will come in to pitch. So those two will just swap.
Jacob Franklin, the number 2 pitcher for the Wildcats in their rotation. A little bit different from, and you've seen him pitch several times, I think, Lee. He typically throws strikes. He will not overpower you, but he's got some movement on just about all of his pitches, and we'll see what he can do here as he will face looks like the first baseman there. The pitch is a called strike. Like I said, Jacob typically hits the strike zone. And as you've said several times in our broadcasts, and anybody knowledgeable of baseball knows, if you throw strikes, the good things typically happen. Here's Jacob's pitch to the plate. That's a little bit outside. Evens the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Batter is Dylan Thomas. He is the first baseman for the Cherokees in a 6-6 ball game. Franklin is a sophomore, takes over on the hill. The pitch is a little bit low and inside, I guess, and the count is 2 balls and 1 strike. What do you remember of Jacob in the previous games you've seen him pitch?
Well, I remember him, throwing strikes, getting ahead, working his fastball both in and outside of the plate. And I just remember him peppering the zone. And then I think the game we did last time with the Central, he kind of just ran into some fielding trouble. And, I thought he threw well, but he kind of just ran into a brick wall there at Central.
2 balls, 2 strikes. The count, the pitch, a little bit outside. Actually, a lot outside. Hits the left-handed batter's box and skips back to the fence, and the count is full now, 3 balls and 2 strikes. So Logan Rosenberger is the third baseman. Caden Black is the shortstop. The second baseman is Jason Slay. Ludwikowski is at first. Here's the pitch. Cut on a miss, and that's a strikeout. So down swinging goes Dylan Thomas for out number 1 here in the 6th, and the batter now for them will be Jared Beale. What has Jared done today?
He's grounded out to shortstop and flown out to left field.
Franklin is a sophomore. Have you ever had your hair that long, Lee?
No, the way my hair is now is about as long as it's going to get. I need a haircut anyway, but no, my hair's never been that long.
He had never had that long of hair, too. When he was on the TV show, he kind of addressed that a bit, much to probably his embarrassment with me asking about his flowing locks. 1 strike the count. Here's the pitch. Breaking pitch hits the mid of Bryson Parks, the catcher, but it's a ball. Evens the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Fun game to watch here. 6-6 our score. The Wildcats have out-hit the Cherokees 9-6. Both teams have committed 2 errors in this game, and they've both been costly for both teams, that is. Here's the 1-1 pitch, hit on the ground to Slay at second. He fields it on 1 hop, throws to Rice Ludwikowski at first for out number 2. So Franklin comes in, 2 up and 2 down, and the batter now for them will be the second baseman, the number 8 hitter in their lineup, Bryson Cox. What has the KG Fox done in this one?
He's flown out to center field and grounded out to third.
So he is 0 for 2 in the ball game. So regardless what happens here, Franklin can get an out here. He'll be facing as the ball's hit hard but foul off to the first base side, he'll be facing the 9, 1, and 2 hitters in the 7th inning. That's what he wants to do, and trying to go get the Cherokees 1, 2, 3 here in the 6th. There's 2 outs, nobody aboard. A pitch hit on the ground, right to Franklin, skips off his glove. It's going to be an infield single for the Cherokees. The ball just skipped. It was hit right back to Jacob, kind of skipped away and bounced high off the mound, and Jason Slay had no opportunity to throw him out. So they will hit the number 9 hitter, and that'll be the pitcher, Mason Chandler. So first man to reach against Jacob Franklin. Going to have to get Chandler here.
Yeah, Chandler's flown out to center field and doubled down the right field line.
Righty versus lefty here. Runner at first. Pitch is down low, a ball. 1 ball and no strikes. Runner at first represents the go-ahead run. Cherokee's batting here in the bottom of the 6th. 2 outs, 1 on, short lead at first. Sophomore checks the runner, comes to the plate. A little bit low and outside, and the count is 2 balls and no strikes.
Well, this is an important at-bat here, actually, for Oak Ridge. You don't want to turn the lineup over. If Chandler is to reach, you don't want to see the top of the order here. Even with 2 outs, you don't want to give the top of the order a chance to hit with runners on base.
Way outside and high, 3 balls and no strikes. 6-6 our score as the Cherokees bat in their half of the 6th inning. We're playing at South Doyle. Runner at first represents the go-ahead run. Jacob Franklin checks the runner, comes to the plate. That's a called strike, and the count is 3 balls and 1 strike. Jacob Franklin started the game at third base in relief this inning for Logan Rosenberger. Pitched well. 3 balls, 1 strike. Short lead at first. Here's the 3-1 pitch. That's ball 4. And they've got the go-ahead run at second base. And now we do go to the top of the order to Luke Vest, the shortstop.
Yeah, Vest has 2 singles, and he's grounded out to third. So it's going to be a big at-bat here. You're going to have to throw strikes, and hopefully you can get out of this because you don't want to give Stapleton an opportunity. It's a tie game right now. You want to keep this game tied headed into the 7th.
Yeah, Stapleton, you'd rather see him kind of lead things off. You not in the next inning here. He's hit the ball hard, except that last time, but he's hit the ball hard for the most part. But so is Luke Vest. He's gotten on base a couple times here. The pitch on the outside corner for a called strike, and the count is 0-1. 2 outs, 2 on in a 6-6 ball game here at South Doyle. A game live on YouTube on our Prep Radio channel. Jacob Franklin. His first inning of work. He's retired the first 2. He's given up the last 2. Nice stop by Bryson Parks there, keeping the ball in the dirt from going and letting the runners advance. And the count is even at 1 ball and 1 strike.
A little off topic, David. I believe your birthday was last week. Happy birthday.
Your birthday is on Tuesday. Boy, we got some birthday guys here.
We should all go out and celebrate after this.
1 ball, 1 strike. The count. The pitch is called strike. Really nice pitch that time by Jacob Franklin. Right at the knees. Kind of fooled Vest that time. Now he's got to be a 2-strike hitter here. He's behind 1 ball and 2 strikes. 2 on, 2 outs in a 6-6 ball game. Bottom of the 6th inning. Jacob checks the runner at second. Pitch a little bit low. And the count is even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. What the umpire likes to call strikes are those big breaking pitches on the outside corner of the plate. That was a pitch that just a little bit low. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 2-2 pitch. Here it comes. Hit on the ground. First baseman Bryce Ledwikowski makes a nice play, steps on the bag at first, and that retires the side, ending the South Doyle threat. We go to the top of the 7th inning, and what has been a fine ball game here at South Doyle High School. We're all tied up at 6 apiece. We'll be back in a moment. David Clary back here along with Lee Wexler, Jordan Osborne here. The long throw down to second, and the top of the 7th inning about to get underway for the Wildcats. It'll be the third baseman, or actually the pitcher, Jacob Franklin, leading things off. He'll be followed by Jason Slay, Bryson Parks. Jacob's been on base a lot here today. He's done good work in the field, on the mound, and at the plate. He's got to get on base here. He had a leadoff double, I believe. Scored a run earlier in this one, and he takes one on the outside corner for a called strike. Way outside, but it's a called strike. No balls and 1 strike.
Yeah, Franklin, he's 2 for 3. The single, a double, and reached on a fielder's choice.
Hits the ball on the ground, 2 hops to the third baseman, fields it, throws in time for out number 1. So good play by the third baseman for them, Cooper Stapleton. He'll lead things off, unfortunately, in the bottom half of this inning. And the batter now will be Jason Slay. Sophomore had a beautiful bunt single his last plate appearance, had a couple strikeouts as well, but just a thing of perfection. The last time, got an RBI out of it as the pitch is up high, 1 ball and no strikes. Lee doesn't keep RBIs on the book here, and hopefully he remembers them in his head. 1 ball, no strikes to count. The pitch to Jason is hit foul. Back to the screen. And I believe it is 1-1. 0-2, Lee says. Yeah, he had 2-0 on the. I knew he at least had one. Here's the pitch, down low a ball. And the count is 1 ball and 2 strikes. On deck for the Wildcats is Bryson Parks. If not for an Alex McNaughton home run to tie the ball game, we might be looking at our final at bat here. They're going to force the Cherokees to bat here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Regardless, as Slay takes one. And I believe the count is 2-2. The scoreboard says 3-1. Here's the pitch. That's down low, and that is ball 4. So down the first will go Jason Slay. So we all were wrong. And the Wildcats have a 1-out base runner. He represents the go-ahead run. And the batter now will be the catcher, Bryson Parks. What has Bryson done?
He has struck out swinging twice and has grounded out to second.
So he's due. Let's see what Mr. Parks can do here. I'd like to see him park one right here. I know that's lame. Runner at first. Jason Slay, short lead off of first. Chandler comes to the plate. That's down low a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. Kind of the strike zone eluding Mr. Chandler a little bit. If I were Bryson, I would take a few. At least take one until he throws you a strike. Lefty comes to the plate here with a 1-0 pitch. Hit on the ground, and that'll be off the third baseman's glove, and all hands are going to be safe. The ball was hit well, and the Wildcats have an infield single. Really nice job of hitting. Good job, really, by my favorite South Doyle Cherokee, Cooper Stapleton, just to keep the ball in the infield. I mean, that ball was headed to left field. He made a play, and, if he comes up with it, they've got somebody out somewhere, but the Wildcats will have runners at first and second. We'll get a courtesy runner into the ball game now for the Wildcats. I think that's Izzy. Looks like Izzy Porter, I believe. I can't really quite see his number there. And the Wildcats will come to the play with Caden Black. They go ahead run out at second base in the person of Jason Slay. He's got a stolen base to his credit today. He got good speed on the base paths. Not a whole lot of size, though. You got Izzy, who's not very big at first. He's a freshman. You got a sophomore at second running, and you've got a freshman batting. As the pitch to Black is a called strike, and the count is no balls and 1 strike. 1 out here in the 7th inning in a 6-6 ball game. Wildcats trying to break the tie here, get a victory. Head on back to the Ridge, get ready for the final game of the season next week, the final game of the regular season. Slay's going to be going. And here comes the throw, and he got back safely. And South Doyle coach Chandler not too happy about that. The throw obviously beat him, and I guess he didn't put the tag down, and little disgruntled infielders out there, and a little conversation taking place, and he's going to argue, but the result's going to be the same. That's one thing I've always wondered about baseball. I know you got to, and now he's been told to go back into the dugout. He's headed that way, and Freddie says, "You out," but he isn't actually out. Umpire's trailing him, continuing to push him into the dugout here. Wildcats might have caught a break there because the throw obviously beat Jason back to the bag there. He had roamed too far off the bag, but somehow got back under the tag.
Yeah, I thought he was hosed. I don't know where he was going. They must have tagged him on the helmet. I mean, the throw definitely beat him, so Wildcats catch a break.
1 ball, 1 strike to the freshman. Chandler checks the runner once again, bounces off the mound once again. Here's the pitch, down low, good stop again by the catcher. I told you I like him too, Braden Ott. Good catcher for the South Doyle Cherokees. And Caden Black's ahead in the count now, 2 balls and 1 strike. Got to get that runner to third somehow. Less than 2 outs here. Let's see what Caden can do. 2 balls and 1 strike. Had a single earlier. Pitch to him, bounce to the plate, bounces away, and all runners will advance. Porter will go down to second base, and down to third with the go-ahead run will go Jason Slay. So just as I compliment Mr. Ott, couldn't do much with that pitch. It was just in the dirt, and it's 3 balls and 1 strike.
Yeah, runners second, third, 1 out. And big at bat here for Caden Black. Infield's going to come in, so Slay over there at third's got to be mindful of a ground ball. You got to see it through.
A good contact guy here. He hits the ball foul back to the screen. Runners at second and at third. 1 out here in a 6-6 ball game as the Wildcats bat here in the top of the 7th inning here at South Doyle. game you're watching live. Good game to watch here. And rewatch. Here's the pitch to Black. It's high, and he swings and he foul tips it into the mitt, and that is a strikeout. Caden Black wanted to make things happen. That probably was a ball 4 there, but tried to make something happen. And back to the top of the order we go to Swigert. Let's see if they put him on here. I know Swigert's had a really good ball game. He's had a great senior campaign. Conversation taking place between the coach and Chandler, Mason Chandler, as Coach Free wants to talk to his base runners, and they are going to bring in a new pitcher from the outfield. While we have a moment break in the action, Wildcats in a 6-6 ball game. We'll be back to South Doyle to talk about the changes in a moment. Welcome back once again to South Doyle High School. The Wildcats in a 6-6 ball game. Ridge has a good opportunity here. Their leadoff man batting, Matthew Swigert, runners at second and third, but there are 2 outs. We've got a pitching change. You've got the changes, Lee.
Yeah, Cooper Stapleton will move from third to the pitcher's mound. Mason Chandler will move out to right field. Creed Walker, no, actually Creed is going to stay in center field. And we have a new third baseman, number 16. I don't have the roster in front of me. Those are the changes so far.
First pitch is a ball, a little outside. The count is 1 ball, no strike. Stapleton working really fast. Here's the pitch to Swigert. Cut on and missed. Throwing hard. If we had a speed gun here, he'd be lighting it up. Matthew working at his pace. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Cut on and missed. Count is 1-2. Stapleton trying to make quick work of Matthew Swigert. He is kind of pitching fast, and Matthew quickly back in the box. Hits the ball on the ground to the shortstop. Here comes the throw to first in time for out number 3. So the Wildcats get a couple base runners on. We go to the bottom of the 7th inning here. 6-6 our score. And guess who's coming to bat for them? It'll be Cooper Stapleton to lead things off for the Cherokees. And that'll be in the bottom of the 7th. And we'll be back on YouTube in a moment. Welcome back once again to South Doyle. Here we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. Wildcats and Cherokees are tied at 6 apiece. The leadoff man, the pitcher, Cooper Stapleton. Cooper's hit the ball right on the button every time except one. And he'll stand in here against Jacob Franklin, beginning his 2nd inning of work. This is the 2, 3, and 4 hitters in their lineup, so he's got his work cut out for him. Hit on the ground, foul over towards the first base side and out of play. And the count is no balls and 1 strike. What has Cooper done today?
He has a double. He's flown out to right and reached on an E4.
So officially, he is 1 for 3, but he hit the ball on the nose on that out to right field. That pitch is a called strike, and Jacob ahead in the count now, no balls and 2 strikes. Jacob throws strikes, as we've mentioned before. That's what the sophomore does. He hits the mitt. No balls, 2 strikes. Here's the pitch. Hit in the air, foul territory. Lobakowski gives it a look, but it's off the screen over by the Oak Ridge dugout, and the count remains at 0-2. So it'll be Stapleton, Ott, and Worker in the scheduled Cherokee lineup here. That's all that Jacob wants to face here, and hopefully with 3 outs here. Here's the 0-2 pitch, cut on foul, tipped back to the screen. Just kind of stayed alive here. Jacob makes them go off balance. I mean, he fools them. Whatever he does to get them to just kind of reach, that's what he almost got strike 3 there.
Yeah, he had Stapleton to reach on a curveball. It was in the left-hander's batter's box. He's had Stapleton off balance here.
0-2 pitch. Hit in the air, right field. Caden Updegraff there for the catch. That not as hard as the play he made on him earlier in the ball game, and that is out number 1. Ball, soft line drive, but out. And Caden didn't really have to move hardly at all. And the batter now will be the catcher, Braden Ott. What has Braden done in this game?
Had a sac fly to center, has a double, and also had another sac fly to left field. So he's officially 1 for 1.
Right-handed hitter. Franklin throws to him, and the pitch is high and inside. 1 ball, no strikes. Logan Rosenberger, he's at third base. Caden Black's at short. Jason Slay is out at second. Here's Jacob Franklin's pitch. Hit on the ground. High hopper. Over the bag. No play at all. It's going to roll into center field, and that'll be a 1-out single. And the winning run is at first base in the person of Ott. Let's see if they get a courtesy runner in for him. It wasn't hit hard, but hit in a perfect place right over the mound. And the batter now will be Creed Worker.
That was a tough play. It bounced right over the pitcher's mound, and Slay just didn't have a play. Even if he would have gloved it, I don't think he would have thrown him out at first.
6-6 our score here. The Cherokees batting here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Winning run at first. The pitch is a called strike. No balls and 1 strike. Jacob Franklin is pitching. Continuing on with the Oak Ridge defense, Ludwikowski is the first baseman. Slay is at second, if I didn't catch him. Alex McNaughton in left. Matthew Swigert in center. Caden Updegraff in right field. Bryson Parks is the catcher. Pitch is hit foul over towards Lee's car once again. Bounces out of play, and the count is no balls and 2 strikes. That one was a little closer to your car.
Yeah, if anyone listening, that wasn't even close to my car. You know what? You're going to get some karma. It's going to actually hit off your car here in a minute.
No balls, 2 strikes. Worker behind you the count, 0-2. Here's the pitch. Pretty close, just a little bit low, right at the knees. A little bit low. 1 ball, 2 strikes the count. Runner at first, representing the winning run for the Cherokees. Jacob Franklin, sophomore pitcher. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The pitch, cut on a miss, and that is a strikeout. And down he goes. And Mr. Worker will head back to the dugout, and it'll be up to the designated hitter, Will Davis here. Really good job of pitching there.
Yeah, his ball moved, his ball tails, and he got Worker to kind of chase something that was inside. Wasn't able to get the barrel around, and it was a nice job by Franklin to come in and throw strikes.
Jacob trying to get this game into extra innings here. We're in the bottom of the 7th inning, 2 outs here. The designated hitter, Will Davis, hits the ball well to right, but Caden Updegraff's there, and he has got it for out number 3. And as they say, we've got free baseball at South Doyle High School. 6-6 our score. Appreciate you watching our broadcast today live on YouTube. Lee Wexler, we head to the 8th inning. What has happened to this point in the game?
Well, both teams got off to a quick start. Oak Ridge was able to play 2 runs in the top half of the first. South Doyle was able to come back and play 2 runs in the bottom half of the first. Had 2 scoreless innings up until the 4th, where Oak Ridge got a couple hits by Matthew Swigert and Caden Black. Were able to get some sack bunts and a single by Ludwikowski, Swigert, and Black. Were able to play some runs, but every inning Oak Ridge has scored, South Doyle has answered right back. And then when South Doyle scores, Oak Ridge has come back to tie it up. We saw a home run. By, if I can find my book here, McNaughton. Thanks, David. It's right in front of me. I can't even read it. Had a home run by McNaughton that tie. That was a crucial home run, and it's been a tight game up until this point. Oak Ridge is out hitting South Doyle 9-8. South Doyle has more errors. South Doyle with 3 errors, Oak Ridge with 2, and we're playing extra baseball here. We're in the 8th inning, tied at 6.
Thanks a lot, Lee. Here, the 2, 3, and 4 hitters in the lineup to face Stapleton here in the 8th inning. 6-6 our score. Logan Rosenberger is the leadoff man. He'll be followed by Alex McNaughton, then Bryce Ludwikowski. Top of the 8th, 6-6 our score. The Wildcats have out-hit the Cherokees 9-8. Here's the pitch to Logan. Hit well, deep to left, way back there. The left fielder looks up. This game remains tied, but Logan Rosenberger will head towards second, and he is going to reach base safely. Logan is not the swiftest of human beings, but he does make it into second base with a lead-off double. Great start for your Oak Ridge Wildcats.
Well, Rosenberger hit that ball off the wall, and Coach Free not happy because what happened was Rosenberger kind of sit there and watched it, bat flipped it, and that ball wasn't really even close to going out. It went off the wall, and Rosenberger, luckily by a throwing error by the cutoff man, was able to reach second, but it's a leadoff double.
Here comes McNaughton. He had a home run his last plate appearance here. Runner at second. He represents the go-ahead run. Nobody out. Runner at second. Rosenberger at second. Here comes McNaughton. He squares to bunt, bunts it perfectly. Past the pitcher. He's not going to have a play except the third, and he is out. Rosenberger is out at third. Had no play at first. The only play he had was to third. Great play by Stapleton, and Rosenberger is tagged out. That's a tough out there. Good play by the Cherokees. Wildcats will have a runner at first, though, in the person of McNaughton. It was a perfect bunt. Probably, if, I won't speculate here, but Ludwikowski stands in, so the Wildcats kind of run themselves out of a potential first and third situation there, or at least first and second. Rosenberger retired by Cooper Stapleton. Pitch is hit on the ground, first base side, foul. And the count is no balls and 1 strike. 6-6 our score here. The Wildcats have out hit them 10-8, I believe that is. Wildcats will have a runner at first. Little better speed on the base pass now with McNaughton. One strike the count. The pitch is hit on the ground. First base side. Nice play. It goes in the right field. That's a base hit. Here comes McNaughton heading towards third. Throw goes over his head. Bounces away, and the Wildcats will have runners at second and third with 1 out. So a nice little bounding single into right field for Ludwikowski. And the Ducks are on the pond right there. The Wildcats have runners at second and third with 1 out.
Yeah, I thought the first baseman had the ball, but it ended up going into right field. I didn't even see the ball in right field. And Wildcats have runners second and third, and Rosenberger getting thrown out at third. That's now huge. That would have been a run.
Pitch up to Graff. The ball's hit. It's going to be the Wildcats taking the lead, and the Wildcats are on top by a score of 7-6. Caden Updegraff with a bounding fielder's choice, RBI, and the Wildcats take the lead over South Doyle by a score of 7-6. So first pitch hitting, and Caden gets the run in.
Yeah, the infield was playing in, and the shortstop for South Doyle kind of bobbled it, and only play was at first.
Wildcats could use this second run right here. Oak Ridge on top, 7-6, top of the 8th inning. Here's the pitch to Franklin. He says he swung, and the count is now 1 ball and 1 strike. So really good job of base running by Ludwikowski. He's at third base right now. Here's the pitch by Stapleton. That's a called strike. Nice pitch there by Cooper. And the count is, I believe, 1 ball and 1 strike. Ball is hit on the ground. Once again, this one a high hopper to the second baseman. He's got it, and he throws on the first in time for out number 3. But the Wildcats take the lead. We go to the bottom half of the 8th inning. The Wildcats perhaps 3 outs away from a victory over South Doyle. Oak Ridge on top, 7-6. We'll be back on YouTube Live in a moment. Welcome back once again to South Doyle High School. Go to the bottom half of the 8th inning here. Obviously, we're in extra innings. High school ball, 7 innings. Leading things off for the Cherokees in a 7-6 ball game will be their first baseman, Dylan Thomas. He'll be followed by Jared Beale, then Bryson Cox facing Jacob Franklin, who's now the pitcher of record here. We'll come back to Lee here in a second to see what Dylan has done in this game. And the first pitch from Franklin is high and outside. 1 ball, no strikes. What has Dylan done in the ballgame today?
He's grounded out to the pitcher, reached on a fielder's choice to third, and struck out swinging.
1 ball, no strikes, the count to him. Pitch, cut on and missed. One at shoulder level, and the count is even at 1 ball, 1 strike. Nobody aboard, nobody out here. Bottom of the 8th inning, non-district ball game here at South Doyle on this Saturday afternoon. Here's the pitch. Cut on, foul tipped into the mid of Bryson Parks. And Jacob Franklin ahead in the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Franklin is the pitcher of record trying to get a victory in relief of Logan Rosenberger. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Bryson Parks with the sign. And here's the 1-2 pitch. Called strike 3. That is out number 1 here in the 8th inning. A really nice pitch by Jacob Franklin, and as we've talked about before, Lee, Jacob is a strike-throwing machine.
Yeah, he is. He's come on, throw strikes, walked one of the second guys he saw, but other than that, he's peppering the strike zone. That looked like a little backdoor sinker that cut back in to the back outside part of the plate right there against Dylan Thomas.
Batter now is going to be Beale. I believe Jacob walked him his first plate appearance, and the ball is hit in the air. Left side, foul territory, over toward it. McNaughton dives for it, just can't get it. Nice hustle out there by Alex McNaughton. He gets grass stains on his jersey, and a nice round of applause from the Oak Ridge fans for the effort. But in all, it's just a long strike. No balls, 1 strike the count here. 1 out here in the 8th. Wildcats on top by a score of 7-6. As in this non-district ball game, the Wildcats trying to even the series with the Cherokees. The Cherokees were all over Oak Ridge last night at Bobby Hopkins on senior night. Wildcats will close it out against Kingston. I believe it's Kingston. I keep saying that. I hope it's Kingston. I have no verification from all the fans. 1 strike the count. Beale is a lefty, batting from the left side anyway. Jacob Franklin, the sophomore throwing right-hander, comes to the plate with a 1-strike pitch hit to the third baseman, Logan Rosenberger. That is out number 2, and the Wildcats 1 out away from an extra inning win here at South Doyle. It'll be up to the 8th hitter in their lineup, the second baseman, Bryson Cox.
And Fox has flown out to center, and grounded out to third, and singled.
Franklin trying to get the win in relief here. Fox stands in. Here's the pitch to him. Called down low. It is down low, way down low in the dirt. 1 ball, no strikes the count. In the 8th inning, in a 7-6 ball game, and a fun game to watch if you're a baseball fan. Lots of runs, lots of good plays. That pitch is down low, and the count is 2 balls and no strikes. Jacob wanted it, but I think it probably was a little bit low. Umpire making Jacob earn it here. 2 balls, no strikes. 2 outs, nobody aboard. Here's the pitch to the plate. There's a called strike. Hit the mitt, center cut. And the count is 2 balls and 1 strike. Number 9 hitter, pitcher Mason Chandler on deck. Here's the pitch, way outside. He doesn't want to walk him here, obviously. Just behind the count, 3 balls and 1 strike, because you're getting towards the top of their order here. The number 9 hitter's on deck here. Jacob trying to get a strike here, trying to get something. His pitch is a called strike, and we've got a full count, so the Cherokees might be down to their final out and strike here. Obviously down to their final out. Let's see what Jacob can do with a 3-ball, 2-strike count. Has the sign, the 3-2 pitch. Outside, ball 4. It was ball 4. It was outside. The Oak Ridge fans wanted it, but from our vantage point, Lee, that was ball 4.
Yeah, that was close. Maybe just off the plate a little bit. This is the 9-hole hitter, Mason Chandler. You really got to dial down and get this guy, get an out here, because I don't think you want to face the one-hole Luke Vest in this inning. You don't want to see the top of the order here in this inning.
Another lefty here, standing in against Jacob. The pitch to him is down low, a ball, 1 ball, no strikes. I noticed against the left-handers, he's been a little bit erratic with his throwing. as he comes from the right side. 1 ball, no strikes. Wildcats on top, 7-6 here in the bottom of the 8th inning. 2 outs, the pitch. There's a called strike. That evens the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. So what has Mason done today?
He's flown out to center, has a double, and he walked his last at bat.
7-6 Wildcats here. 1 ball, 1 strike, the count. Franklin checks the runner at first. The pitch. Down low a ball. 2 balls and 1 strike. Just barely missed. Just a little bit low. Jacob Franklin trying to close things out for the Wildcats in this non-district ball game on the road on this beautiful Saturday afternoon. Good lead at first by the Cherokees. Here's the pitch. Hit on the ground. To Lobakowski off the mitt. Jason Slay fields it. Throws on the first. Franklin covering. He's got the out. And the Wildcats win. Oak Ridge wins by a final score of 7-6. You call that a 3-4-1. And the game is over, and the Wildcats win it by a final score of 7-6. You don't see the 3-4-1 put out very often, but that's what the Wildcats get to close out the ball game. Oak Ridge beats South Doyle 7-6.
Yeah, very good hustling play that time by the Oak Ridge infield. It goes off the glove of Ludwikowski, and Jason Slay, who has to run a mile to his left, doesn't give up on the play, fields it, and an outstanding job by Jacob Franklin to cover the bag. I mean, you work on that in practice, PFPs, pitcher fielding practice. You cover the bag. It's why you never give up. Good hustle by everybody to get the third out, and good win today for Oak Ridge.
7-6, your final score in extra innings. We're going to get Coach Travis Free up here. We'll hopefully get some player interviews. Lee, I'll let you decide who we're going to talk to, but I know I'm going to speak to Coach Free here, and will the Wildcats win it by a score of 7-6? And while we have an opportunity, why don't you run down the final scoring?
All right, final stats for the Oak Ridge offense. Matthew Swigert had a double, a walk, a single, flew out to center field, and grounded out to shortstop, scored 2 runs tonight. Logan Rosenberger pitched and played a little third, was hit by a pitch in the first, singled in the second, had a sac bunt in the fourth, struck out in the sixth, and hit a double right there in the 8th inning. Alex McNaughton with a strikeout in the first, lined out to third, grounded out to third base, hit a home run. Alex McNaughton with a big home run, game-tying home run in the 6th, and singled there in the 8th inning. Bryce Ludwikowski singled in the first, flew out to center field in the 3rd inning, singled in the 4th, popped out to second base in the 6th, and singled in the 8th inning. Caden Updegraft singled in the 1st, reached on an E5 in the 3rd, was out on a fielder's choice to second base, his 3rd at bat, flew out to center field in the 6th, and grounded out to short in the 8th. Jacob Franklin was 2 for 5, reached on a fielder's choice in the 1st, singled and doubled, grounded out to 3rd and 2nd. Jason Slay, 2 strikeouts, had a single and a walk. Bryson Parks with 2 strikeouts, grounded out to 2nd and a single. Caden Black strikes out 3 times and singles.
Thanks a lot, Lee. We're going to speak to the head coach of the Wildcats, Coach Travis Free, and I'm going to let Lee decide who we should speak to. A lot of players contributed to the win. Obviously, Jacob Franklin came in and did a really good job to close things out. Alex McNaughton had the home run to tie the ball game when it was 6-5, and of course the RBI. What was the final RBI that got the Wildcats run? The Caden Updegraft. We'll talk to Caden. Let's talk to Caden, Alex McNaughton, and Jacob Franklin. If those will be the 3 we speak to, get a chance to talk to him. And Coach Free is going to come over. Let me move over here. So I'm going to let him do the interview, and I'm just going to hand him the mic here. So I'll talk to him off camera, and Jordan will get him on camera, so you don't get my ugly mug in the face. You know, we want people to enjoy their suppers tonight. They don't want to lose their suppers. And here comes Coach Travis Free of the Wildcats, and we'll get Lee if you'll track down those 3 interviewees. Yeah. Jacob Franklin, Caden Updegraft. Here will be the first 2 players. We'll go with Caden first. Caden had the RBI that scored the winning run. And Caden, I'm just going to hand the mic to you here. Let's talk about this game. Last night you had senior night at Bobby Hopkins, kind of a game that got away from you. But tonight, a totally different story.
Yeah, no, we just kind of had to come out with some energy. We knew that they were kind of going to be underestimating us because they beat us last night, but we kind of thrive off of that, and we want to just keep the energy up and kind of just go out there and kind of make a statement, and I think that's what we did. We made a couple errors and a couple mistakes that we're going to clean up, but we're just lucky to kind of close the game. So.
Let's talk about you got the RBI, and all you had to do was really put the ball in play. The guy comes in to score the winning run, but you also you got on base a couple other times. You made some nice plays in the outfield. That one that almost was a little bit of a snooker, but you made the play. So pretty solid game for you today.
Yeah, no. As far as that RBI, you're exactly right. I just had to put the ball in play. So I just pretty much put my hands on it. I managed to get a grounder right to shortstop, and that scored Alex. But yeah, that was all I had to do. And then the plays in the outfield, just the things we work on in practice. So nothing really too big. But yeah, that one coming up at me, it looked like it was about to die, but it just kept coming. So I was a little surprised by it, but I ended up catching it. So.
What about the home run by Alex McNaughton?
Oh yeah. I mean, that's big time. I mean, he's a big slugger. I mean, he hits those stuff in BP all the time, so not really surprised. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing him some more his senior year. So,
Coach, you have like one, or actually, Caden calls you coach. You will be a coach someday. Caden, you've got I think one more game to go, I believe, against Kingston. Then you've got the district tournament. Tell me about what this team can do.
Yeah, no, I think we're just going to surprise some people. We've kind of been playing with a little bit of sluggishness and kind of just going through the motions. But I think as the postseason picks up, we're going to come out with a little more energy and some more positivity. And I think we're just really going to go out there and just kind of show what Oak Ridge baseball can do. And, we're not going to hit a bunch of bombs or anything like that, but we're just going to make routine plays and kind of just get on bag and steal bases. And I think that's what we're going to do. So,
thanks a lot, Caden. Good luck.
Thank you.
Caden up to Graff. Here comes Jacob Franklin. Jacob closed things out for the Wildcats. Picked up the victory. I think the first time I interviewed you, Jacob, was at Clinton after a victory. A little bit different. Logan started the ball game. I thought he pitched well, and you took over the last few innings and got the victory. Talk about both of your all's pitching performance.
Rosie's pitching performance was definitely spectacular going into this. We expected great things from him going into it. We knew the rotation with Rosie got a little bit high in pitch count or started getting hits off of him that I was going to be coming in. So Rosie did fantastic for what he was going against. I know he has a couple buddies on that team. I know from personal experience pitching against Carnes, it's not easy pitching against your buddies and knowing that it's you against them. But it happens sometimes. And then I came in, I knew what I had to do, just kind of keep it scoreless, keep our team in it. And I think our team on hitting came through at the end.
Let's talk about that last play. I mean, you very seldom see a 3-4-1 put out. The ball was off of Bryce's glove. Jason fielded it. You did the right thing and hustled and got over to the bag to cover. Talk about that final play.
Off contact, I knew I was going to have to be over there just because we do a lot of practice PFPs going around to get to first on plays that the first baseman's too far off the bag. So it's kind of become instinctual on that one. And then once it got past Bryce, I knew how Slay's played this entire season. I knew I could rely on him to back up the first baseman there. I saw Slay got it, and I hustled back there. And as soon as I got it, I was filled with excitement and thrill on what just happened there.
Let's talk about your pitching performance. Were you pleased with the way you pitched?
There were a couple pitches that I think I could have placed a little bit better. That got a little high on me, but yeah, I feel like I pitched good, pitched with location, like I usually want to. Got that movement on that slider today. Got a couple of chases on that. Somehow still tipped it for getting that, and then hit it to right field. But yeah, slider looked good today. Two-seam had some run, and I felt good about how I pitched.
You hit the ball well, too. You got one opposite field hit. You got one long one out there. So you got to feel pretty good about your fielding, pitching, and hitting.
Yeah, it feels great going into a game and after realizing what happened, and felt good off the bat when I hit the double in the left field. I battled through that at bat. I knew what I would have to do on a new arm coming in. I felt like I prepared for him pretty well, and then just did what I could to make the team have a chance.
One more game to go in the regular season, then the district tournament. Is your team ready to go for district tournament play?
I think like I think Caden said before, we've been playing a little bit sluggish on the defensive side of things a little bit. A couple errors behind us that could snowball on us, but I think our team is definitely ready for what's coming our way.
Jacob, thanks a lot and good luck.
Thank you.
It's Jacob Franklin. Let's get Coach Free in here. I know he'll be excited about that victory, a good win. Coach, I'll just let you kind of go through it in your mind, what you saw. I know, though, you'll be very pleased with this win today.
Well, it was a very big win for us for sure. A couple things. Always as a baseball coach and as a leader of the program, you're always kind of looking at ways and things that we've got to get better at as we move down the stretch, especially going to the district tournament. In my opinion, there was 4 major plays that were kind of negative plays towards us that really affected us from kind of winning that game in regular innings and then 7 straight instead of going extra innings. But, the good thing about this team, once again, we finally showed that fight that we had early in the season. We kind of got that edge back a little bit. We were able to, once again, we get in there to lead off an inning against one of their best arms. If not their number 1 arm, we get in there, we lead off double. And then we kind of even the negative play on the bunt that Logan kind of mishandles his base running a little bit, but then we just kept coming, and then Caden was able to step up and move the ball in that situation, which is huge because that's really where we struggled. If you really look at it throughout the course of the game, I counted 7 times with the runner on third base with less than 2 outs that we struck out. And that, to me, it really, we've just got to do a better job. We've just got to get in there and move the ball. And if we move the ball, then we score, like we've talked about all year. We got to third base a lot. Now we got to be able to move it when we get there.
One of the things you've got to be pleased with was the final play there. I mean, the ball was hit. Your first baseman, it goes off his glove. He kept it in the infield. Jason did a great job backing it up, but the better play was Jacob doing what he's supposed to do, and that's come off the mound and cover the bag at first, and that recorded the third out in the win.
Now, that was a huge play for sure, especially on defense, how we made some mishaps and we made some plays that I felt like were a little tough in situations where younger guys are still trying to fill out what we're trying to do in those situations. And the only way to do it is to get experience. And then once again, what happens there at the end of the game, hits a bouncing ball that gets over Bryce's head. Slay's doing his job, backs the play up and catches the ball. And there's Frankie doing exactly what he's been coached to do and be at the base to make a play. And that was a big-time play. And those sometimes big-time plays negate some of those negative plays that we had early. And so that's what we just keep trying to do that. And we kept coming after them and kept doing things to win the game. And I'm pleased with their effort. Once again, I love the fight that they have, and I love the way that when we kind of get it going, how well and how that's going to help us in the postseason is build a fight. When things go bad, sometimes we're able to overcome those.
You did leave too many people on base, but, defensively, I thought you were really sharp. You made a couple mistakes in the field, though, but for the most part, I thought you fielded your position well. And I thought, Logan, I thought he pitched really well. I mean, he didn't have the defense totally behind him, but, I thought both pitchers, despite the fact, he gave up 6 runs, I thought both pitchers, did well.
Yeah. We go back and look at that for sure. It's probably 3 earned runs on the day, probably. And that one inning there where we kind of gave up back-to-back. We gave up 2 one inning, 1 inning, then 3. And we could have minimized some of those innings, decreased that number instead of 6. We decreased that number down to 3 probably with a couple plays. And, that's where we're at. We're still learning that. We're still young in those situations that we're making those mistakes. And these moments are just making these kids better. I mean, you look at Caden Black. I mean, he's going to be a stud. I mean, he's going to make those plays every time. Next year, you just wait and see how much better he's going to be. Same thing with Slay, just finding a way to play the game and how good they've got. They're going to be phenomenal players for us, and they're going to make those plays down the stretch for sure.
Before I let it go, a big home run by Alex, too.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a big swing. Alex, I was looking at his stats the other day, and I know it's crazy. I like to talk about him, but Alex is almost hitting 400 on the year. He's hit 2 balls out, and he's just barreling balls and hitting balls deep with some good power, and that's a testament to him. Not only did we make some technique changes in his swing there in the middle of the year, but one thing that he's done is he's physically put himself in a situation that he is stronger, faster, and moving very well. So I'm definitely pleased on how he's doing.
I'm afraid they're going to unplug us here. You've got, I think, Kingston to close things out, and then the district tournament.
Yep, got Kingston on Tuesday, ready to close this thing out, move into the postseason. I'm excited about the opportunity. I'm excited about what this team's got, and going to be fun to watch.
One final thing, your final comments on this win.
Great team win for us. Maybe able to close the door, and just the willingness for them to compete and close it out is good to see.
Thanks a lot, Coach. Coach Travis Free, head coach of the Wildcats. Oak Ridge wins it in extra innings, 7-6, your final score. That about does it here on YouTube. We appreciate you watching our game. Appreciate Lee for helping us out here, and the birthday boy, Jordan Osborne, doing our camera work. Our next broadcast of Oak Ridge High School baseball will be Tuesday from Kingston as the Wildcats take on the Yellow Jackets in the final ball game of the regular season. Final score of your ball game in extra innings. The Wildcats win it by a final score of 7-6 to even the series with the South Doyle Cherokees. For Jordan and Lee, this is David Clary saying so long, everybody.